That beat Chelsea in the Premier League in midweek. So Lecomte is in goal, Castagna, Cuenca, Diop and Sessegnon. So they revert to a flat back four for this game. Smith Rowe, Lukic, Reed, who scored that brilliant goal against Liverpool a week ago. Kevin, Kusiasari, who's a young Swedish forward making the first start of his senior career, and Adama Traore, a former Middlesbrough player. As our referee is Lewis Smith, he blows the whistle, and we're underway here at Craven Cottage with Fulham in all white, defending the Hammersmith end of the ground. For those of you who know Craven Cottage, that's away towards our right. They're attacking the Putney end away towards our left, and that's where those nearly 5,000 fans who've travelled down from the northeast are housed from Middlesbrough. They were actually given an extra 586 tickets a week ago, so their full allocation is 4,846. And Middlesbrough are all in red with that white band going across the front of their jerseys. They have made just two changes from the team that beat Southampton 4-0 last weekend. Bryn is in goal, Brown is at right back. You've got Malander and Ayling as the two central defenders. Targett, who actually has been playing as a central defender, switches back to his more natural position at left back. You've got Morris and Gilbert in the centre of midfield with Silvera, and then Whittaker, Hackney and Tommy Conway leading the line. But here is Smith Rowe playing the ball out wide, and an opportunity for Traore to attack for Fulham on that right in front of the Riverside stand. Castagna swings over the cross, the header back towards Smith Rowe, side onto goal. Sessegnon joins the attack, and Fulham looking to see a lot of the ball in the early stages, Andy. Yeah,
a good tempo to the game to start. I know it's only a minute or two old, but both teams have really got after the ball. There's a good feeling around the ground. I think we could be in for an interesting game today.
Here is Reed back towards Traore. Traore with Middlesbrough, every red shirt back behind the ball. Reed passes the ball then back towards Diop, and here is Cuenca. It's his 7th successive start. Best run in a Fulham shirt, but all the noise is coming from the Middlesbrough supporters, who are extremely vocal away towards our left-hand side. The ball back out now towards that right. Castagna pushes the ball forward. Reed on the stretch, nudges it towards Traore. Had to release that rather quickly, and now it's picked up with Gilbert in the midfield for Middlesbrough. I was listening to Kim Hellberg speak yesterday in his press conference, and he was saying this is an opportunity for us to test ourselves. Regardless of the result, he's going to use this as a measuring stick, if you like, where Middlesbrough want to be next season, week in, week out.
Absolutely, and I think he's right. If
ball forward from Silvera, and he just stops talking as Conway picks it up on that left-hand side, pulls it back. I thought Morris was going to shape to shoot, Hackney might, and it was cut out by Diop as he steps out of defence. There's a goal at Tranmere in League Two, Nick Hatton.
Bromley well on the way to a 7th win in a row. Tranmere 0, Bromley 1. Top scorer Michael Cheek with a trademark header from 7 yards out. Tranmere 0, Bromley 1.
Smith Rowe on the edge of the area, on the stretch. Kusiasari back towards Reed. We'll bring in Andy in a moment, but Adama Traore now attacking on the right-hand side of the area. Comes almost to a standstill in the area, passes the ball back. Lukic hits it. First-time goal kick. Sorry, Andy.
Yeah, no, look, it's been a really open game, and it's really good. It's end-to-end at the moment. But I definitely think if you look at where Middlesbrough are in the league and what their aspirations are to get back into that Premier League, some of the players that they've got, I think it's a good game to really test yourself against, to get that yardstick, see, where do we actually stand, and if we did go up, where would we be able to compete? So they'll want to give a good account of themselves here today, and it's always good for the confidence. And you mentioned about them fans. I always love playing in the FA Cup because you get more fans in the ground than the opposition, and always makes for a good atmosphere. It's a great opportunity for Middlesbrough today, and they've started the game pretty well.
Well, they're coming forward now as Whittaker picks up the ball just short of the halfway line, runs into the Fulham half. Silvera's low ball in, Conway is there, and Lecomte makes the save with his legs. It was a sharp attack by Middlesbrough down the right, and Benjamin Lecomte, the French goalkeeper, had to react very quickly.
Yeah, Morgan Whittaker's the player that I've been really looking forward to seeing today, and he got on the ball, he drives forward. When he opens them legs, he's got a really good stride, and he's the one that, if they can get the ball into him, get him turned running at defenders, he will cause problems. It was a good chance there, and I just think the Conway could have done a little bit better, but it was good defending in the end.
All of his previous 4 appearances in the Fulham goal have been in the cup competitions, in the League Cup. Signed from Montpellier in the summer in a 2-year deal, but he's a very experienced goalkeeper. over 300 appearances that he made in Ligue 1. As Kevin comes forward now for Fulham. Crossfield ball from left out towards the right side, that far side. Traore right corner of the area, passes the ball into the area, Kevin scuffed it. Just dropped away off his marker, didn't he? It just seemed to strike the bottom of his right boot.
Yeah, it did. It's one of them. He went to try and whip it, and it just came off the bottom pad, just came off his studs, and he didn't get enough contact on it. I like how open the game is, and you know what we said at the start, are Middlesbrough are going to come out and they're going to get after Fulham. They have done that, but when they do come out, it leaves space in between the lines. Ball
goes over the top from Ayling, who was looking to try and get Silvera in, who's a London-born player but actually grew up in Australia, and he is an Australian international. The 25-year-old, diminutive on this near right-hand side, as Target's header will go straight to the feet of Castagna on that far side. It remains then Fulham 0, Middlesbrough 0. As where will we go on 5 Live? It's Manchester City. This commentary's on Sports Extra, but keeping an eye on it for us is Lee Blakely.
Manchester City 0, Exeter 0, but what a chance, Ian, for Exeter in the opening 5 minutes. Corner from the right, found the head of Liam Oakes, 6 yards out. Brilliant save by Trafford to tip it over the crossbar and to keep it just about at Manchester City 0, Exeter 0.
Ball passed forward by Lecomte. Smith Rowe able to turn, lays it off. Sessegnon playing it at left back. Came back after injury off the bench against Chelsea on Wednesday. Kevin carries the ball, level with the area, held up by Brown, the Irish international. Kevin, though, goes on the outside of him, plays a low ball in. It was Kusi Asari who was trying to get there, but Middlesbrough now can bring it clear with Hackney. Highly rated, extremely talented English under-21 international. Here is Whittaker, as we welcome listeners to the BBC World Service. So wherever you are in the world, a pleasure to have your company here on the banks of the River Thames in the capital. We're sat in the Johnny Haynes stand opposite the Riverside stand over on that far side on a dry and bright day in London for what has already been an extremely dramatic day in the FA Cup, with Macclesfield of National League North knocking out the FA Cup holders Crystal Palace, the first holders to go out to non-league opposition since 1908. And you think of the drama that we had last night in the penalty shootout with Wrexham beating Nottingham Forest. It's fair to say that the FA Cup has already delivered. What will it deliver either for the rest of today or indeed tomorrow? As we go to St James's Park and Katie Smith.
Whereas Newcastle 0, Bournemouth 0, but a really fast start from these two Premier League teams, and Newcastle really should be ahead. Visser teed up left-hand side of the box, about 12 yards out, goes for the curler. A brilliant save from Petrovic. Newcastle 0, Bournemouth 0.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live. Total of 18 games that we're bringing you live across the 5 Live Sport Network. That Manchester City match is on Sports Extra. Stoke City Coventry is on Sports Extra 3. And on Sports Extra 2 is indeed that game at St James's Park. Sports Extra 2 and 3 are available through the BBC Sounds app. Silvera for Middlesbrough, midway through the Fulham half. Playing from left to right, Ayling. Now towards Adelson Malanda, French centre-back, who only made his debut against Southampton last back. As the ball is picked up now by Hackney. Target delivers across. Conway was there. He's actually caught Cuenca in the face there with a stray right boot, as there's a goal in the cup at Doncaster. Andy Giddings.
Well, it's Doncaster Rovers 0, Southampton 1. Bragg with the finish at the second attempt after Lototala had saved the earlier effort. Southampton part way to avoiding an upset. Rovers 0, Southampton 1.
Mentioned that game on Sports Extra 3, Stoke Coventry. Tom Gale.
0-0, Ian, but first chance of the game to Stoke. Million Manhoff in one-on-one right in front of the Coventry fans, and he dragged his shot well wide. Stoke 0, Coventry 0.
And we're back underway here. Cuenca was quick to brush off that little kick to the face.
Yeah, he was. Middlesbrough have settled into this game really well, I have to say. It's they've been knocking it about quite well, but when they are quite aggressive with the position and in possession, and Alan Brown is stepping forward and he's stepping inside as well, so it does leave a little bit of space when they turn the ball over, and a couple of times there's a space in that middle of the park near the referee, and Smith Rowe has got on the ball and turned and looked to play forward for Fulham, so they'll need to keep an eye on that. Ayling is looking to jump in and go really tight on him when he can, but there's some big distances for him to cover.
It must have given encouragement to the Middlesbrough players when you look at the opposition and think, oh, they've made 7 changes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, the players, they haven't played much football recently. Some of them, they've been in and out. They might come on for 20 minutes here and there. So you look at that team and you think, we can have a right go at these. And I think it's reflected in the start that they've made. They look really confident. They're looking to build with a back three at times. Like I said, with Alan Brown stepping into midfield. And they're doing quite well at the moment.
Here is Ayling. Malanda passes the ball. Hackney always making himself available. Passes it forward along the ground towards Gilbert. Now Conway is able to take over. He goes to ground under the challenge from Lukic. No free kick, says our referee Lewis Smith. Remember, there is no VAR in the competition until the 5th round stage. So extra time and penalties would be required if it was level after 90 minutes, as Lukic passes the ball out towards Traore. Opportunity here to test himself against target. Slows down, looks to accelerate, slows down again, passes the ball to Reid, and Fulham go back. Burnley-Millwall, goal, Julia Bolt.
Burnley 1, Millwall 0, and they've been good for it as well. It's been all Burnley so far. Ashley Barnes, the scorer, the ball came into him, he was dead centre of goal and just pushed it over the line with his left foot. Burnley 1, Millwall 0.
Traore tripped. Right corner of the area, free kick to Fulham, 0-0, Andy Reid.
Yeah, I just think it was unnecessary. You know, you've got to stand up a player like Adama Traore. You don't want to give him anywhere to go, and he's just moving the ball a little bit, and just a loose leg that comes out, and you give away a dangerous free kick in and around the edge of the box. And they're the ones that are really frustrating for me, and they're frustrating for coaches and managers, because completely unnecessary. You put your team under a bit of pressure now. You have to defend this free kick.
The offender was Alex Gilbert, who's actually only featured for Middlesbrough this season since the change of manager, when Kim Hellberg came into the side. The young Swedish coach, who's done very well at the Riverside. Free kick though for Fulham. Reid is standing over it. Sessegnon is also there. It will be Reid who curls it in. Kusiasari had a go. Kevin's had a volley. That was blocked by Hackney. He really caught hold of that as well, didn't he, off his right boot. Goal at Manchester City, Lee Blakeman.
And it's gone to Manchester City, and Max Alleyne, the youngster who's recently returned on loan from Watford, has got it. Corner wasn't dealt with. It was bundled over the line, in off the post. A brilliant moment for young Max Alleyne, making it Manchester City 1, Exeter City 0.
Yeah, after his recall from Watford, he played in midweek, didn't he, against Brighton, and there he is, popping up with a goal. Amazing sometimes how certain paths in football are forged through circumstance.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and generally the FA Cup throws up a lot of them little bits that come up. It's a brilliant competition, I have to say, and the drama that we've taken so far from it, and I'm sure there'll be more to come over the next day or two.
That is the voice of Andy Reid, the former Republic of Ireland international, who's with us here at Craven Cottage. Fulham 0, Middlesbrough 0, and looking to close down Castagna on that far side was Silvera, and it will go out of play for a goal kick to Fulham. So still goalless. Leyton Orient and Cardiff City in League One, there's been a goal, and in fact Leyton Orient are the ones who've taken the lead there. Cardiff, who the leaders, unbeaten in 4, but have fallen behind at Brisbane Road. As Lecomte all in orange. Diop out towards Castagna. He's going to try and switch play. That might be intercepted by Whittaker. Falls straight towards Whittaker, then bops up and hits his hand.
Yeah, he's unlucky. He's tried to take a touch there and it's popped up, but it just shows that the Middlesbrough press really good, and Fulham were struggling to be able to play out. They were struggling to break the lines and get anywhere. Good press from Middlesbrough that was. They were very unlucky.
This time last year we were actually at Brentford, and Morgan Whittaker scored the goal that knocked out Brentford when he was playing for Plymouth, as Castagna delivers across. Kusiasari climbs, and his header is caught by the Middlesbrough goalkeeper Sol Bryn. As we'll go to Hillsborough, Chris Coles.
Sheffield Wednesday 0, Brentford 0. The Premier League side unsurprisingly dominating, and they've had the first real chance of the game. Reece Nelson cutting in from the left wing, right foot shot crashes against the crossbar. Sheffield Wednesday 0, Brentford 0.
Hackney tries to wriggle clear, loses the ball. Reid in the centre, passes it out to the left. Kevin forward, Smith Rowe left corner of the area. Kevin's gone on ahead of him. Malanda comes across and just lets the ball safely run out for a goal kick.
Yeah, Fulham haven't quite got going yet. They haven't really got into their stride, as you probably would expect with so many changes to the team. And I think the best moments have come on transition when there's been a sloppy pass from Middlesbrough, but they haven't been able to capitalise on anything. Middlesbrough are the team that are kind of forcing the issue in terms of possession, and they probably would like to maybe break some lines or passes a little bit more. I always mention that space around where the referee is. There's a bit of space in and around that number 10 position, and can they exploit it with Morgan Whittaker?
Here is the man who Andy Reid's just been talking about, and Whittaker just couldn't keep the ball in play, as it will go out for a Fulham throw in front of the Johnny Haynes stand on this near side, and it remains goalless after a quarter of an hour. I was on the World Service earlier, Lee James presenting from the Etihad today with René Moulenstein, and the team news had just been announced, and I realised that they were going to have to jiggle things around a little bit, and I was fishing a little bit with René, because Silvera played under René when he was the Australian manager, and I was thinking, who's going to fill in at right back? And I was saying to René, could Silvera as midfielder, could he go in at right back? And he said, no, he couldn't. No.
Yeah, but we're seeing a lot of that. I mean, if you look at Alan Brown from Middlesbrough's perspective, he's playing at right back, but we've seen him play obviously midfield, even higher up, and we're seeing it a lot with teams stepping into, with full-backs stepping into midfield to create overloads in there, and Middlesbrough have done it reasonably well so far.
He said he has got a trick in him, he's got that change of pace, but sometimes his final ball lets him down. Did score his first goal in 2 years against Southampton last weekend, as the player we've just been talking about, the ball bobbled away from him, helped out by Brown, who is a midfielder who's playing as a right back, and he comes across and does well to keep the ball in play down the line towards Whittaker on this near side. It was very congested there for Middlesbrough as they go back to Ayling on the halfway line, and it remains 0-0. We'll go to Boreham Wood next. John Southall.
Well, it's Boreham Wood 0, Burton 0. Boreham Wood, the home side, have made the better start, but the chance for Burton. Kegs Chauke with it 8 yards out, Ted Curd with the save. And Ian Wiggs sitting about 3 rows from the home dugout, which gives a different perspective. Boreham Wood 0, Burton 0.
I can imagine as the ball is cut out by Reid from across from the right-hand side. Told you that Leyton Orient were leading in League One. Sam Ashu can tell us how they scored it.
Yeah, Leyton Orient 1, Cardiff 0. It's a big mistake by the keeper for Cardiff, Nathan Trott, as well. He passes it to his defender, he gets it back, takes his time, and it gives it to Dom Ballard. It's a chance for him to intercept it. It goes into an empty net. What a start for the home side against the league leaders. Leyton Orient 1, Cardiff 0.
Remiss of me not to mention the fact that 17 minutes in, but Marco Silva is not on the dugout on that far side. He's serving a touchline ban. Whittaker, forward ball. Silvera, he was offside anyway. It's just coming across to thwart him at the last moment was Issa Diop, and Silvera has stayed down 0-0.
Yeah, it was good. It was good play again from Middlesbrough. They're looking for them line-breaking passes. They've got maximum width, maximum height, so they're keeping that Fulham back line pinned back in. And then you've got Whittaker and Gilbert coming into them pockets and receiving on the half-turn, and that's what we've seen there. It was a good ball, and the run was just a little bit too early, and he just strayed offside. But more positivity for Middlesbrough.
He picked up his third yellow card against Chelsea in midweek, so that's why he's serving the touchline ban. He's high up in the director's box, just underneath the TV gantry in that Swish News stand, that redeveloped Riverside stand. I had a tour of it before the game. I have got to say, it is very, very impressive.
Surely you could have got us commentating from up there. Then I'll know.
Give me time. I tell you what, if I go back over there, you wouldn't see me for the commentary. There's many an establishment that could lead you astray over there, I can tell you. Here is Kevin with a cross, caught into the near post by Brint. 18 minutes played, and Middlesbrough more than holding their own.
Yeah, they are. They've made a good start to the game. They've dominated the possession. They kind of probably would have liked another chance or two to kind of show from it, but they seem to be landing on all the second balls. As we mentioned earlier, they're playing with a back four, but when they build in possession, they're building with a 3, which gives them an extra man a little bit higher up, and they're able to maintain possession and probably haven't sustained the attacks as much as they would like, but some good passages of play.
Reid passes the ball to Castagna, infield to Lukic, tries to hold off the challenge of Conway from behind, and the Serbian international now passes the ball out to this near side, the left for Sessegnon. Smith Rowe did come short. Instead, Kevin was the option that he finds on the left touch line, and he strokes the ball back to Cuenca. Lukic again, looking to try and knit it all together in the midfield. To Castagna, the right back. They are still missing a number of players, so they're not blessed with many options really Muniz is, who actually did have a spell at Middlesbrough, is still out with a hamstring injury. Calvin Bassey, Chukwueze and Iwobi, of course, at the African Cup of Nations, and indeed Nigeria play Algeria in the quarter-final at 4 o'clock later on to see who can play Morocco in the semi-finals. Tesse's out, King's out, so they've got a couple of youngsters on the bench, but Marco Silva is having just to carefully rotate his squad.
Yeah, he is, but they've got some good players out there, and I think probably the key to this game for Fulham would be Smith Rowe. When he drops into them pockets, he takes up really, really clever positions, and Fulham just haven't been able to find him yet, but at some point they will, and you would fancy him to create something.
There's a chill in the air. That was an awkward fall. He may have jarred his back, Brown. I think it's a head injury, but in the end Lewis Smith looks at it and then does stop play. He went for an aerial challenge. I think it was the way he landed, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's one of them that he's gone up to try and win the ball, and Sessegnon hasn't jumped with him, and when he's won the ball, he's just kind of come off the Sessegnon's back and landed awkwardly. He'd be all right, maybe a little bit winded.
We'll go back to Stoke then. Tom Gale.
Stoke 0, Coventry 0. Visiting keeper Ben Wilson very busy, denied Divine Mubama with a goal line save, and then followed up by Toliavirov, who struck from range, but it was tipped away by this Coventry keeper. Stoke 0, Coventry 0.
Commentary continues on Sports Extra 3. You can find that through the BBC Sounds app, as Lukic will come forward for Fulham, out to Castagna just inside the Middlesbrough half, back to Reed. Diop, bright orange boots, gloves, ball forward from Cuenca. Sessegnon, Smith Rowe. Middlesbrough chasing at this stage, but looking to try and force Fulham back.
Yeah, there's nowhere for Fulham to go at the moment. I think Middlesbrough are pressing pretty well. I think the outsides are the place where Fulham need to go. It's very congested in the middle of the park, and they need to go around the outside a little bit more, I would suggest.
Here is Brown holding off Kevin, using his body strength well, helped out by Hackney. Target, who certainly, as Kim Hellberg has been full of praise for, because Eddie Howe had revealed this week that they still do have the recall option on that Target, on loan from Newcastle United. Given the injury situation at St James's Park, they may well yet exercise that option, but Target has done well, whether at left back or centre back for Middlesbrough. And Hackney just couldn't find Whittaker as he picked up the ball in the midfield and then went straight to Cuenca. Sessegnon now offloads it. Smith Rowe passes a diagonal ball out wide to the right. And here now is Traore, who slows down as he still walks his way into the box on the right-hand side, teasing his way forward. Pulls it back. Reed off balance, shoots wide. Goal kick, 0-0.
Yeah, it wasn't a good set from Traore. Reed wanted to come onto it and strike it. There was too much pace on it. He ended up off balance and couldn't quite, and it was a poor attempt in the end, but I expect the setback to be a little bit better from Traore there.
He tried to replicate his goal from last week against Liverpool, but I would imagine how many appearances. That was his fourth goal in 202 appearances. He will struggle to replicate.
Some strike though, wasn't it? It was brilliant. And the time in the game as well, it just makes it even better.
It is a goal, I'm sure, that Fulham supporters will be seeing time and time again. A little bit like the goals at Macclesfield earlier, as they knocked out Crystal Palace by 2-1 to produce the upset of upsets. As here is Kevin coming forward for Fulham, still goalless here at Craven Cottage. Tries to wriggle on the inside of Brown. Silvera then loses the ball just when he thought he could bring it to safety for Middlesbrough. Out towards Sessegnon. Sessegnon looking towards Kevin with a little ball inside. I think Kevin thought that was going to go out for a corner kick, but instead the referee has said it's a goal kick.
Yeah, I think he might have been trying her on. He knew that was a poor touch. It looked to me like the referee got that right.
We'll go to Hillsborough next. Chris Coles.
Wednesday 0, Brentford 0. Brentford hit the crossbar for the second time in this game. Donovan on his full debut, good cross with his right foot. Lewis Potter deep at the back post, his header off the top of the crossbar. Sheffield Wednesday 0, Brentford 0.
Foul, and it goes in favour of Middlesbrough. Whittaker was hauled to the floor. As another goal at the Etihad, Lee Blakeman.
Another one for Manchester City, and this will be one of the goals of the round. Loose ball fell to Rodri, 25 yards out, hit it sweetly, it flew past goalkeeper Joe Whitworth. Brilliant strike. Manchester City cruising, leading Exeter 2-0.
John Murray revealed yesterday on the Commentator's View podcast that if he had his say, That's where he would have sent me today. Manchester City 2, Exeter 0. I know the commentary continues on Sports Extra, but I'm glad he's not the editor.
Yeah, but it's not often he doesn't get what he wants, is it?
Well, that's very true. Here is Silvera. Gilbert, edge of the area for Middlesbrough. Ball in. Oh, and arriving at the far post was Hayden Hackney. And I think he was just put off by the prospect of the goalkeeper Lecomte, all in orange, diving down at his feet as we go to Doncaster, where there's been another goal. Andy Giddings.
Doncaster Rovers 0, Southampton 2. Southampton swarming all over their League One rivals. Cameron Archer this time on the score sheet, 15 yards out. Big deflected effort. Rovers 0, Southampton 2.
Doncaster Rovers not exactly going into that cup tie banging form, winless in 6 and struggling in League One. That was half an opening, wasn't it, for Middlesbrough?
Yeah, it was, and just seeing the replay there, and Hackney had timed his run brilliantly well. It was a late run, but he timed it, he was onside, and it was one of them when the keepers come out and they spread themselves, and I think they've kind of he's coming with his feet, and Hackney seen him coming and just maybe pulled out just at the last minute, but it was more good play from Middlesbrough, and they'll feel really pleased. I'd imagine the Hellbuck feels really pleased with how they've started this game. They've got lots of energy, they're on the front foot, they're pressing really well, but not just that they're working hard, it's really clever pressing, and Fulham are struggling to play through them.
Have to be a stoppage in play. There are 2 balls on the pitch at the moment. Do I sense then that you're also quite relieved that John Murray didn't get his own way?
I'm happy where I am, mate. I'm happy where I am.
You went very diplomatic then, didn't you? You realised you'd had one dig at him, you couldn't afford a second.
You don't get a second dig at John, everybody knows that.
26 minutes in, 0-0, Fulham and Middlesbrough, in the company of Andy Reid on BBC Radio 5 Live, the BBC Sounds app, and of course the World Service, as Smith Rowe does well to open it up towards Castagna. Room to run into on that far side, the right. And then passes the ball back to Diop. But by that time, Middlesbrough now have got everybody back in their own half.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. They've got a really nice shape there where they're congested in the middle of the pitch, and I think Fulham need to move the ball a bit quicker, but they need to pass it around the outside of this. Every time they go into the Middlesbrough midfield, they really struggle.
Kevin combines with Sessegnon. Sessegnon with a cross. Kusiasari couldn't get there. Reid running in, actually hit it on the half volley, and it went straight at the goalkeeper Bryn, and it remains 0-0. There's been a goal now at Hillsborough. Chris Coles.
A goal for the Premier League side. Brentford in front, thoroughly deserved. They've been dominant. Jensen's free kick all the way through to the back post. Lewis Potter tapped it in. Sheffield Wednesday 0, Brentford 1.
And Sheffield Wednesday in the Championship against Brentford, who are really going well under Keith Andrews, looking to avoid another third round exit after Plymouth last season. The ball chipped out to this near side for Kevin. He won't keep the ball in play. He does well actually to keep his balance as he came down and ran in towards the advertising hoardings in front of the Johnny Haynes stand.
Yeah, it wasn't a great ball from Lucas. He's overhit it there and he's kind of looking at Kevin, but I think the idea was right. If they can move it quickly and they can switch the ball from one side to the other, I think that's where they're going to get the joy. We've seen Sessegnon a second ago there. He was just made that underlapping run, got in and whipped the good ball in, and I think that's where they're going to get the joy. If you look at the formation, we've just mentioned it there, that Middlesbrough are playing, there's a lot of bodies in that middle area and playing around the outside against a formation like that, I think, is important.
There's been a goal at Celtic, Kenny Crawford.
And the latest stint from Martin O'Neill in the dugout for Celtic has got off to a great start. Celtic 1, Dundee United 0, and it's that South Korean player Hyun Jun Yang who scored another goal. He scored in the 3-1 defeat to Rangers last weekend, fired it into the bottom left-hand corner. It's Celtic 1, Dundee United 0.
Kusiasari for Fulham. Smith Rowe passes the ball for Castagna, shapes to shoot, and on the rise, right-footed into the Middlesbrough supporters. Incidentally, when I mentioned there was 2 balls on the pitch, Alex Gilbert was booked by the referee Lewis Smith because he actually threw the second ball onto the pitch to stop that Fulham attack. So Gilbert has been booked by our referee, as we will go to Boreham Wood against Burton Albion and John Southall.
Well, it's Boreham Wood of the National League 0, League 1 Burton 0, but Boreham Wood have a free kick here, 25 yards out, central position, really good opportunity this. Just before this, Regan Booty running at the defence for Boreham Wood, saved by the keeper Dudek. Don't know if you want to just see this, Ian. It's Booty, 25 yards out, central position. This could be one of the first openings of the game for the home side, for the National League side. They're obviously taking their time over it. The referee's just pushing the wall back, but Regan Booty on his left foot will take it, I think, eventually. That's the whistle, and Booty steps up, curls it over the bar. It's a good hold by the keeper just under his crossbar. Bournemouth 0, Burton 0.
Thanks, John. Gilbert forward for Middlesbrough. Still remains 0-0 here at Craven Cottage. Here is Targett inside. Whittaker hits the early ball forward, and this is an opportunity here for Middlesbrough as Hackney now tries to get it out towards Brown. Might fall back towards Whittaker. Side onto goal. The ball towards Brown goes behind the Middlesbrough right back. Silvera plays it forward. Laid off then by Morris. Here is Silvera. The angle is tight with a cut back, and there is Hackney, and Middlesbrough lead. He could not miss from close range. They worked it ever so well, and the Championship side, to the delight of their travelling supporters, are leading at Craven Cottage by a goal to 0.
Is a brilliant goal. It is such a good team goal. The way they've walked there, underlapping runs, great technical area, combinations in wide areas. They come central, brilliant forward runs, great timing. And then Hackney arrives to time in that late run into the box, put on a play for him from 6, not even 6 yards out, 4 yards out, and he just gets a little dink on it. But the combination play leading up to it, Silvera does brilliant. Hackney arrives, what a finish, and you have to say it's no more than Middlesbrough deserve.
They were patient, they had the penetration, and they now lead 1-0. And the noise is coming from the Putney end, where nearly 5,000 Middlesbrough supporters are celebrating. Plenty of red and white scarf being swung around their heads. And Hayden Hackney, this highly rated midfielder, 23 years of age. I think a couple of years ago I was commentating when he scored a goal against Chelsea in a League Cup semi-final. He's going to be some prospects. They're hanging on to him. His deal actually is until 2027. He's got that ability, a little bit like Frank Lampard, to be in the right place at the right moment.
Yeah, he timed it brilliantly, just arrived. There's an anticipation. I always say to them, midfield players that arrive and anticipate what's the time and don't be in too early where you can get mad. And he done that brilliantly well. Him and Morgan Whittaker have been the two best players on the pitch. They've been excellent.
It's his fourth goal of the season for Hayden Hackney, but they did ever so well on the right-hand side. And Silvera, we were talking about him as well, the Australian international, earlier, weren't we?
They were patient, they kept the ball, they didn't force it, they didn't just whip it into the box too early. Really good combination play, got everybody in them forward areas involved in it, got enough men forward, and that's a really, really well worked goal, I have to say.
Yeah, well, Kim Hellberg said yesterday that they were going to come here, they were going to play. They are an attractive side, they're very easy on the eye, and they're leading by a goal to 0. I've been watching English football for about 30 years, Kim Hellberg. Here is Whittaker once more, coming inside, shoots, left-footed, straight at the goalkeeper, and he said it was going to be a special moment to be involved in the FA Cup for the very first time. It's turning to be very special for him. His side are leading by a goal to 0.
I like how aggressive they are out of possession as well. You know, they're setting the press really well. Looking at Luke Ayling here, he's like half waiting to just pounce all over Smith Rowe if that ball goes into him in the number 10 position. And Fulham just don't have anywhere to go at the moment. Every time that ball goes into the middle of the field, somebody jumps on them, they turn over the ball, get into them forward areas, and they're creating chances.
That's Andy Reid, and this is Kenny Crawford. There's been another goal at Celtic Park.
Yeah, looks like this might be a comfortable introduction for Martin O'Neill back into the fray. Celtic 2, Dundee United 0. This time Belgian midfielder Arnie Engels, he redirected a Tierney shot which was going wide into the back of the net. Celtic 2, Dundee United 0.
Middlesbrough, who are leading by a goal to 0, are actually winless in their last 22 away FA Cup ties in London, where they've drawn 9 and lost 13 since beating Charlton in a third round replay in January 1957, 3-2 at the Valley, and a certain Brian Clough was on the score sheet for Middlesbrough that particular occasion.
Incredible. He loved the goal, did Brian Clough.
Talking of the Valley, that's when our extensive Saturday commentaries culminate with Charlton against Chelsea at 8 with Alistair Bruce Ball and Pat Nevin. An 8 o'clock kickoff at the Valley later on. You'll hear that here on 5 Live after we've brought you Tottenham against Aston Villa. Before that at 5:45, But still, we know what will be leading at Sports Report at 5. Macclesfield knocking out the holders Crystal Palace by 2-1. Peterborough are leading Bolton Wanderers by 1-0 in League One. Fulham are 1-0 up here, as we're going to go to Leyton Orient, also in League One. Samashu.
Yeah, brilliant response from Cardiff City. They've equalised at Brisbane Road. It is 1-1 here, and it's fine work from Yusuf Salek. It all starts just in his own half. He lobs it over the defender. He's one-on-one with goalkeeper Killian Cahill, and it's a fantastic finish. 1-1 here.
I'm led to believe that I just said Fulham are 1-0 up. I didn't know I'd said that, but it's Middlesbrough who are leading by 1-0. You've worked with me enough times on a Saturday afternoon. Although it's not as frenetic as normal, I haven't got that excuse to fall back on.
Nah, and they're well worth this 1-0 lead.
Here is Silvera looking for Conway. Left-hand side of the penalty area. Middlesbrough looking to increase their lead. Pulls it back. Here is Gilbert back towards Conway, left-hand side. The two of them still exchange passes. Gilbert, there's a little turn. Passes the ball to Hackney, the goal scorer. He comes forward, delivers there was a cross-come shot in the end, and it drifts out of play for a goal kick. Fulham 0, Middlesbrough 1. Boreham Wood, Burton, there has been a goal. John Southall.
And it's gone to the League One side. Burton, Boreham Wood 0, Burton 1. Kyle Lofthouse on the right of the penalty area, lashed it into the bottom left-hand corner. His second ever goal for the club. Boreham Wood 0, Burton 1.
Another goal in the cup at Turf Moor, Julia.
It's Burnley 2, Millwall 0. It's Loon Chowner with the goal. He was just off centre of goals, hit it with his left foot. It's gone into the back of the net. Burnley 2, Millwall 0.
The goals are flying in now. Ipswich now, Paul Gilmore.
Ipswich 1, Blackpool 0. Beautiful finish. It was worked over to the left-hand side where Jayden Philogene, first time inside of the foot finish, into the far corner. Ipswich 1, Blackpool 0.
That means that the only goalless games in the, well, is 9 FA Cup ties taking place at 3 o'clock. Newcastle, Bournemouth and Stoke City, Coventry City. It's 1-0 here to Middlesbrough. Ayling almost showed too much of that to Kevin. Lukic sliding in, catching Whittaker. I thought the referee might have played an advantage there, but he hasn't. He's given a free kick for Middlesbrough.
Yeah, I thought the fact that he didn't play an advantage, I thought he was going to book Lukic. Lukic just slid in. That's some brilliant football from Middlesbrough there. They're building from the back, playing into midfield, bounce out to Ayling, and then they're looking to get out around the outside. And Fulham just don't really have any answers. They can't get on the ball. They can't get any flow. They're trying to press, but every time they press, somebody else pops into a pocket and they get on and playing some excellent football, Middlesbrough.
Yeah, they are. Leading by 1-0. We've got about 8 minutes to go to half-time. You were talking earlier about the travelling support from Middlesbrough, who are still making all the noise in the Putney end away towards our left. Just looking at Ipswich, Blackpool with Ipswich 1-0 up. Blackpool took 20 free coaches for their supporters down to Suffolk today. And is it not keeping the ball in play with Silvera? And you don't need me to tell you about the Sunderland supporters. I think it was 8,000 of them that went to Goodison today to see their side ultimately win on penalties against Everton. That's the beauty of the Cup, where you can take that level of support.
Yeah, and it's so noticeable when you're in the grounds as well. I always remember playing in them games, and if you were the home team and the opposition, they bring 6, 7, 8,000 fans, wherever it may be, and you can hear them more than what you would do in a normal Premier League game, and it's just a special feeling around the FA Cup, isn't it?
Certainly is. And it's those 5,000 or almost 5,000 Middlesbrough supporters who are the happier here. They've probably got, I'd say, a good quarter of the ground, because it's not full. There are a lot of empty black seats around Craven Cottage here this afternoon. Middlesbrough then 1-0 up.
What I would say about this game, if you came and you didn't know who was the Championship team and who was the Premier League team, you wouldn't be able to tell. Middlesbrough have been by far the better team. They've played a better football, look organised, structured, in possession, out possession. Really good performance from them so far.
Certainly is. Here is Sessegnon for Fulham to Kevin. Kevin collects that short diagonal ball. Level now with the penalty area. Brown at right back, backs off him. Sessegnon infield now to Lukic. Middlesbrough again, though, have everybody back behind the ball. They're trying to make it awkward for Fulham to play through them at this stage. I can't really recall on too many occasions Fulham stretching that Middlesbrough back line as they are forced back, and Cuenca goes all the way back towards Lecompton. You can hear a few groans from the Fulham faithful as we go to Newcastle and Katie Smith.
Where it's still goalless here. Newcastle 0, Bournemouth 0. Newcastle building up momentum, but a bit of disappointment for the visitors. They've had to make an early change. Unal, first game starting since Boxing Day 2024. He's been forced off injured. Looked like a groin issue. So number 9, Evan Nielsen on the pitch. 0-0.
Thank you, Katie. Commentary continues on Sports Extra 2. Cuenca chips the ball over the top. Sessegnon has gone forward, can't hook it goalwards. One bounce and it's out for a goal kick.
Yeah, because they've just got nowhere to go. The gaps between the units are really, really good, you know, from Conway, and then you walk your way back. There's no space for the midfielders from Fulham to come and get on the ball and play on the half turn, so they end up just kind of knocking a hopeful ball there. Sessegnon can't get on the end of it, and what they've done is they've got up and they've got back really, really quickly, so there's no space in behind, and they're narrowing the gaps in midfield as well.
Fulham, who are actually unbeaten in 5 games since that League Cup quarter-final defeat at Newcastle. They've won 3 and drawn 2 of those 5 matches. It has seen them pull away from the threat of relegation. Adama Traore runs forward, skips over one challenge, down towards the byline, delivers the cross. Ayling heads it away, still inside the penalty area, and the goalkeeper gave an excellent shout there to Malanda, the central defender. That was real authority from the keeper, all in blue.
Yeah, he done well there. It's the first time we've seen Adama Traore come into the game, done well on the outside.
Hackney picking up that ball. Sometimes he's gone deep as Hackney, and then on other occasions he's a little bit more advanced and looking to try and find Conway.
Yeah, you've got Morris, Hackney, Silvera and Gilbert, and then Morgan Whittaker coming back in to make an extra number in there, and Fulham just haven't been able to get hold of them. They haven't been able to get close, and they're taking up some really intelligent positions.
Adama Traore again is forward on the right. His cross is a deep one. Kevin rises in the air, comes off the top of his head. Sessegnon keeps it alive. Kevin takes over, gets the shot away, blocked inside the area, and Conway back there will left-footed swivel to hook it to safety and out for a Fulham throw.
Yeah, it's the best passage of play, and I suppose the best kind of period that Fulham have had in this game. Last 2 or 3 minutes, Traore's come into the game. We've seen Kevin a little bit, got a shot off there. Middlesbrough defended well, but a bit of positivity for this Fulham side.
Here is Sessegnon, the left back, high up the pitch. Makes a forward run. Comes out towards Smith Rowe. With the cross across the face of goal it went, and Target, not too sure where Traore was, had to turn it behind for a corner kick. Fulham have a corner as they trail 1-0.
Couldn't take any chances there. Target at the back post. He didn't know what was behind him, and he just put it out for a corner. I can't blame him. You see, I thought Traore could have maybe gambled a little bit more to get in at that back post. Is what you say to a winger on the opposite side. When the ball's away, can you get in at that back post? And he didn't there. But Fulham have a corner here. Target couldn't take any chances.
Reid and Sessegnon are the two who have wandered across in the corner of the Putney end of the Riverside stand, as Fulham all in white play from right to left as we look. Southampton have got a 3rd goal at Doncaster Rovers, incidentally. It'll be Reid with a corner, and it goes to the box directly. Cuenca, goal line clearance. Falling backwards was Ayling. Beat the goalkeeper. But Ayling, right place, right time, denied Cuenca his first goal for Fulham. But they're still there to attack. Smith Rowe, left-hand side of the area, standing up towards the 4 post, and Target with a flying header. Middlesbrough under real pressure, have to defend another corner.
Yeah, they've come to life now, Fulham. You can hear the crowd getting behind them. Some good play there. Middlesbrough looked a little bit, but that was a brilliant clearance off the line from Ayling. A well-walked corner, near post. Ayling's read the danger. He's dropped back late onto that back post, and as he's fallen back, he just gets enough to clear it off the goal line.
It could have gone anywhere off the instep, couldn't it? As it was, they were able to get the ball away, and Cuenca thought that he might have equalised. Corner kick then for Fulham. Reid again this time will pull it back towards Sessegnon. Infield now to Kevin. Passes it back out towards the right for Reid. Reid with a cross, the ball spinning in the air. Target heads it away. Silvera will just do enough to stab it clear, and now all of a sudden there could be a counter-attack for Middlesbrough, who lead by a goal to 0, but Fulham win it back with Kusi Asari. A goal at Doncaster, Andy Giddings.
Well, it's Doncaster Rovers 0, Southampton 3. The Championship side have 1 foot in round 4 thanks to a towering header from Kiru Matsuki. 4 minutes to go to the break. Rovers 0, Southampton 3.
And another, we'll go to Boreham Wood in a moment. Hold on, Reid with a cross into the area, flicked header away by Ayling, won't go out of play. Smith Rowe will keep it in play on this near side, the left. Back it goes towards Sessegnon, lose a little bit of the momentum. And Lukic though, Middlesbrough have dropped everybody back in behind the ball, close on, late on in this first half. About 60 seconds remaining to the break. Traore with the cross, headed up rather than on by Castagna, and Middlesbrough able to get it now up towards Conway. So to Boreham Wood, John Southall.
Long way back for Boreham Wood now. Boreham Wood 0, Burton 2. Kane Adam had plenty of time, 6 yards in the penalty area. His header came off Charlie O'Connell and has been given as an own goal. Bournemouth 0, Burton 2.
Another goal at Manchester City, Lee Blakeman.
All very routine, 3-0 to Manchester City. Corner sent in, it was given in the ground to Nathan Ake, but I think it's an own goal. It looks like it's gone in off Jake Doyle-Hayes for me. Either way, ticking towards half-time, Manchester City 3, Exeter City 0.
That would be confirmed, Lee, off the video printer in front of me, an own goal from Jake Doyle-Hayes. A third goal of the afternoon at Turf Moor for Julia Bold.
It's Burnley 3, Millwall 0, and it's the man who got the equaliser against Manchester United midweek. Jayden Anthony, left-hand side. It's flashed across the front of goal and in. Burnley in cruise control, 3-0 up.
Fulham finishing this half very strong, trailing though by a goal to nil. Reid digs the ball out towards Kusi Asari. This tall and lean teenage Swedish centre-forward who is on loan from Bayern Munich, only his 7th appearance for the club, as we're into stoppage time, and there is just the additional 60 seconds here at Craven Cottage. And Fulham, they do have some of their more established players such as Raul Jimenez and Harry Wilson, Tom Kearney and Sander Berger on the bench, should Marco Silva require them.
Yeah, by the looks of how this game has gone in the first half, they will be needed at some point. There's no doubt about that. It'll be interesting to see if he gives them a little bit longer in the second half to try and make a mark on this game, or whether he'll make some changes at half time, because other than the last probably 4 or 5 minutes where they put Middlesbrough under a bit of pressure, haven't really been able to assert any dominance in the game, whether that be possession, territory, and it's been a pretty top performance really from Middlesbrough. They've been excellent at times.
Well, they are leading by a goal to nil. That's Andy Reid, who's with us here on 5 Live in the World Service, and there is the half-time whistle, and they lead through a goal from Hayden Hackney, scored on the half hour. Well worked down the right-hand side, finished from close range, but Middlesbrough have impressed.
Yeah, they have. They played some really good football. They built really well from the back. They played through the lines. They've got the good attacking players. In Whittaker and Silvera on the ball, scored an excellent goal. And out of possession, I think they've been really good. They've restricted Fulham to very little, and they've pressed them. They've worked really, really hard, really aggressive in how they've gone after this game today, and they've got the rewards at half-time. Still a long way to go, though.
Certainly is. Livingston, incidentally, Kilmarnock by a goal to nil in the Scottish Premiership. But in this FA Cup third-round tie at Craven Cottage, it is Fulham of the Premier League 0, Middlesbrough of the Championship 1.
Andy, many Premier League sides have been looking at Hayden Hackney. I think their eyebrows might have just gone up even more after that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think him and Whittaker have been excellent. I really do. Everybody sees the times that they get on the ball and how they receive on the half turn and play forward. And when you look at Hackney arriving into the box late, but the positional play is really, really good. They're causing Fulham all types of problems with how they're getting on the ball and the positions that they're taking up. They've been really good. But I have to say, we singled them two out, but they've been top to man. I have to say, they've been really good. The back line have been excellent. Ayling has marshalled that back line really, really well. They've been really aggressive with the press. A really enjoyable performance from Middlesbrough.
So Middlesbrough of the Championship lead Fulham of the Premier League. The other Premier League teams facing lower division opposition in the 3 o'clocks going very well, including Manchester City. Lee Blakeman.
Oh, Steve, listen to this for a bad story. Manchester City 4, Exeter City 0. Jake Doyle-Hayes for Exeter has just scored his second own goal of the half. They lost it at the back, Exeter, while playing out, fell to Reinders, and Doyle-Hayes put through his own net for the second time in 5 minutes. The other goals, as the half-time whistle goes, scored by Max Allain, the Manchester City youngster, after 12 minutes. Rodri fired in 12 minutes after that from nearly 30 yards with one of the strikes of the round. All very straightforward here. Manchester City 4, Exeter City 0 at half-time.
Long way back for National League Boreham Wood against League One Burton, John Southall.
Absolutely, Steve. They trail Boreham Wood by 2 goals to nil. If we're being fair, there was nothing in it for 35 minutes. Then the 2 Burton goals. The first from Kieran Lofthouse on the right of the area, absolutely slammed it into the bottom left corner. 6 minutes later, Kane Adam given far too much time, 6 yards out. His header came off Charlie O'Connell for an own goal, and Luke Garrett, as the players troop off at half-time, has much work to do to inspire his side. Boreham Wood 0, Burton 2.
Burnley looking very comfortable against Millwall of the Championship, Julia Bold.
They are. It's Burnley 3, Millwall 0, and it just took 11 minutes for the home side to go in front. It was Jakob Brun-Larsen who sent the ball into Ashley Barnes, and all he had to do was poke it over the line with his left foot to go in front. Then Ekdal sent the ball into Loom Chowner, who was just off the centre of goal, swung his left foot at it, and he went beyond Stephen Bender to double Burnley's lead. And just before the break, Jayden Anthony was on the left-hand side, and his shot flashed across the front of goal. Now, that's not to say the visitors haven't had chances. The best came for Jake Cooper. It was a header on the edge of the 6-yard box, and it sent Max Weiss diving to his left-hand side as the ball headed for the top corner, but the Burnley keeper managed to make the save. It feels a long way back for them. It's Burnley 3, Millwall 0.
Half-time at Hillsborough, Chris Coles.
Sheffield Wednesday 0, Brentford 1. The scoreline not a true reflection of Brentford's dominance. Very comfortable for the Premier League side. Keane Lewis Potter's back post tap-in, surprisingly their only goal. Jensen's deep, undisturbed free kick. Lewis Potter could have missed. They've also hit the crossbar twice and missed 3 further excellent chances. Charlie McNeil's well-struck effort from range represents Sheffield Wednesday's only chance, straight to the keeper. They are still in this, but only down to Brentford's wastefulness. Sheffield Wednesday 0, Brentford 1.
What about the All Premier League tie at St James's Park? Katie Smith.
Newcastle 0, Bournemouth 0. Fast and frantic start. Newcastle, though, on top as the 45 went on. Wissa with several big chances. Won a curler from about 10 yards in space, forcing a great save from Petrovic. Also had a header on target, and him and Voltemada on the pitch together for the first time, linking up really nicely. Bournemouth, as ever, though, looking dangerous on the counter. Bad luck for Ines Unal. All sorts of injury problems he's had. Looks like another. He was forced off early. So Evan Nielsen, who scored in the last 2 games in a row, on earlier than hoped or planned, goalless at the break.
You'll get the second half of that game on Sports Extra 2. Doncaster Rovers, Southampton, Andy Giddings.
Well, Doncaster Rovers 0, Southampton 3, and this scoreline does reflect the dominance of the visiting side. They wasted little time in setting about their League One opponents. Cameron Bragg opened the scoring on 8 minutes, converting smartly 15 yards out after Kiru Matsuki's effort was saved. Cameron Archer made it 2 with a looping header, and 4 minutes before half-time, Matsuki was there unmarked to meet a Tom Fellows swinging cross to make it 3. Rovers have offered nothing in open play, but from a set piece, a 20-yard free kick was saved full stretch by debutant Saints goalkeeper Daniel Peretz. One-way traffic, however, more than not. Doncaster Rovers 0, Southampton 3.
Portman Road, Ipswich of the Championship, League One Blackpool. Paul Gilmore.
Ipswich 1, Blackpool 0. The goal coming on 35 minutes. Lovely team move. The ball worked out to the left-hand side to Jayden Philogene. He's no stranger to an eye-catching goal. A first-time finish with the inside of his right boot, bent beautifully into the far corner for his 10th of the season. Blackpool keeper Bailey Peacock-Farrell has made good saves to deny Kipre and Akpom. At the other end, it needed a Greaves block to deny Imre a certain goal. The visitors were clinging on towards the end of the half. Ipswich 1, Blackpool 0.
And the All-Championship tie at Stoke. Tom Gale. Stoke 0, Coventry 0. Visitors yet to hit the target, whereas Stoke have Talivirov's 25-yard strike tipped around the post. Rigo whipped in a short free kick, which was headed off the line by Wolfenden. Lee Blakeman mentioned a Rodri goal of the round contender earlier. Well, Divine Mubama with a miss of the round here, surely. 3 yards out, he clears the crossbar. Coventry, top scorers in the Championship, but looking fairly blunt so far here today at the break. Stoke 0, Coventry 0.
You're up to date in the FA Cup. Into League One, Leyton Orient, Cardiff City. Sam Ashu.
Where it is, Leyton Orient 1, Cardiff City 1. Entertaining first 45 at Brisbane Road. It all started with a bit of calamitous defending at the back when Nathan Trott in the Cardiff goal failed to clear his lines. Dom Ballard intercepted and into an empty net the ball went, but the league leaders responded well, as you would expect, and when Yusuf Salik broke through, you knew he wouldn't miss. He rounded Killian Cahill in the Orient goal. That left him with an open net and his 12th of the season. Really good game. This could go either way in the second half. It's 1-1.
The other half-time score in League One is Peterborough 1, Bolton 0. Early games finished Luton 2, Stevenage 1 and Stockport 1. Huddersfield 0. Into League 2, Tranmere Bromley, Nick Hatton.
And Bromley looking good for a 7th league win in a row. They lead at the break by a goal to nil. That goal coming courtesy of top scorer Michael Cheek's 13th of the season, coming after just 90 seconds. A deep cross from the left-hand side. Cheek found himself between 2 Tranmere defenders to head home from 7 yards out. The woodwork denying him a second on the half-hour mark, collecting a knockdown, fired into the ground. A good save from Jack Barrett, tipping it onto the bar. Tranmere's best chances have come from Nathan Smith. The first, a far post header clipping the post. The second, 40 forcing a decent save out of Grant Smith in the Bromley goal. So at half-time it is Tranmere 0, Bromley 1.
The other League Two half-time is Crewe 0, Harrogate 0. Martin O'Neill back at Celtic. So are the good times, Kenny Crawford.
Seems like it, yeah. Half-time Celtic 2, Dundee United 0, and it looks like his return is going to mean a return to winning ways for the hosts. Comfortable for them so far in this match. Yoon Jun Yang's low arrowed shot to the bottom left-hand corner from the edge of the box put them 1-0 up. Then Arne Engels, the Belgian, made it 2 from 10 yards. The host challenge now is to sustain it. Half-time Celtic 2, Dundee United 0.
Right, other half-times then in the Scottish Premiership. Hibs 0, Motherwell 0, Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 0 and St Mirren 0, Falkirk 0. In the Scottish Championship, it's 1-1 at half-time in the game between Ayr and Airdrieonians. Arbroath are 2-0 up at Wraith. Scottish League 1, Cove Rangers 0, Inverness 0, Queen of the South 0, Kelty Hearts 1, and it's 2-0 at half-time to Stenhousemuir over East Fife. Scottish League 2, Edinburgh City 1, Stirling 0. Half-time it's 4-1, Stranraer 1. In the National League, 4 games today. Aldershot 0, Solihull Moors 4. Half-time whistle hasn't quite gone there. Solihull Moors have just scored their 4th. Sutton 1, York City 1. Woking 2, Hartlepool 0 and Hartlepool down to 10. Braintree Boston United is a 5:30 kick-off. Reminder, in the early games in the FA Cup, the biggest story by a mile, Macclesfield 2, Crystal Palace 1. Sunderland beat Everton on penalties. Finished Cheltenham 0, Leicester City 2 and Wolves 6, Shrewsbury 1. Back to the FA Cup after the news with Lisa McCormick.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thanks, Steve. The exiled son of Iran's deposed Shah has urged Iranians to seize and hold city centres as anti-government protests continue. Reza Pahlavi, who is based in the US, is calling for further demonstrations in the coming days. A man in his 50s has died after a tree fell in his caravan near Helston in Cornwall during Storm Goretti. Thousands of homes are still without power in parts of England, mainly in the southwest. The authorities in southeastern Australia have declared a disaster as firefighters tackle raging bushfires there. Houses have been destroyed and power has been interrupted. And a rare comic book's been sold for a record £11 million. The Action Comics #1 book from 1938 introduced the world to Superman.
So, who am I?
Matthew Ellis. You're on your own and you've money to burn.
New series of The Night Manager.
If I get you in, I'm done. It's just you and me.
Starring Tom Hiddleston.
Deception is in our DNA.
You played me. Get to the airport now.
I have to get to him before he gets to me.
The Night Manager.
Make the call.
Watch on BBC iPlayer.
This is 5 Live Sports.
The FA Cup with Steve Crossman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
OK, Championship side Middlesbrough lead at Fulham of the Premier League by a 1-0. Half-time FA Cup round 3, second half commentary on the way. The only WSL game this afternoon finished Arsenal 0, Manchester United 0 in the Champions Cup rugby. Bristol won 61-49 against Pretoria Bulls earlier. A live score is Glasgow 19-0 up at Claremont Auvergne. Let's get some more reaction to the story of the day, the story of almost any FA Cup day. 6th tier Macclesfield producing one of the greatest shocks in FA Cup history, beating the holders Crystal Palace by 2-1, and Gary Flintoff has been speaking to their manager John Rooney.
No, it's incredible. Still doesn't feel real. Obviously before the game we were talking about with a bit of hope and listening to the FA Cup, but did they really believe it? No, probably not. But when we went 1-0 up, I was like, they're going to come on top now. But I thought the lads, I didn't think, obviously we won the game, but I thought we were well-deserved winners as well. I thought we were outstanding.
I've spoken to both of your goal scorers, and clearly the momentum of the game was shifted by the timing of both of those goals. But I think particularly the goal from Paul Dawson really gave you hope. And I just wonder, from a coach's perspective, just before half-time, how important was that for you?
No, it's, you take scoring a goal against the Premier League side, but to score just before half-time and then to get the lads in, see the next 5 minutes out and then get them in, and just to tell them about the second half, how can we slow the game down, how can we manage the game, how can we take the sting out of it if they have a spell. And they carried it out, everyone into a man, the subs that come on, outstanding, and as I touch on, I couldn't be any prouder, and it's still surreal to me. It's wow, can't believe it.
And you know these players are here because they're good footballers, they have ability, but was there any question in your mind they had the character to get over the line today, having taken the lead?
It's hard because you're up against the Premier League side, so whether they've got character or not, but I thought they showed the character in abundance. You know, they showed a real grit about them, winning the second duels, winning the individual battles, 2 centre-halves were solid as a rock, and everything. You know, I thought we were outstanding, you know, so if anyone questions their lad's character in there after seeing that today, wow.
And we've seen the scenes of celebration right at the end. The joy of the plastic pitch is that the fans can join you on there to celebrate, and of course there'll be faces that you'll see week in, week out, normally stood on the terraces, but certainly with extra faces here today. I mean, what did that mean to you right at the full-time whistle? Can you put that emotion into words?
No, listen, I just seen, you know, I was obviously had a little celebrate myself, but then to see the fans coming on, listen, this club went under a few years back, and since Rob's took over, you know, we've had success in the league, but we've never really had that FA Cup run which we'd want. And to see that today, and to see the performance, and to see the fans, they deserve that. And I think whether it was a grass pitch, I'm sure they still would have been on that pitch today.
As you say, Rob has put his money in, but I mean, you can't get away from the fact that today has generated so much money that presumably your budget has changed entirely for next season.
That's where we'll have to sit down and discuss it. No, but listen, Rob's been incredible, and he's given me my opportunity to manage his team, manage his club, and you know, was I ready to finish playing? I'm not too sure. Probably had a couple of years left, but once you come out of football, you don't know whether you get back in a manager's role or a coach's role, so I wanted to grab it with both hands.
And how do you celebrate tonight?
Listen, we're in there with all the lads, and I was still a player last year, so I still got that relationship, so they deserve to celebrate tonight, and you know, I'll go over and see my family, my wife and kids in the bar.
And I believe the owner is suggesting he's taking you all to Ibiza.
Oh, is that what he's saying? He loves
Apparently
it.
So. He said it on the BBC, John, so he can't back down now.
He gets carried away, Rob, but listen, he's good like that. He done it last year when we won the league, so I wouldn't put anything past Rob.
You should be so proud of yourself and your players. Many congratulations.
Thank you very much.
John Rooney, the Macclesfield head coach, speaking to Gary Flintoff. A heck of a start to the day for everyone other than Crystal Palace fans, obviously. Later on, we've still got 2 more FA Cup commentaries to come. Charlton versus Chelsea from the Valley at 8 o'clock. Liam Rosenior's first game in charge of Chelsea. Tottenham versus Aston Villa with Thomas Frank desperate for some kind of result to come at 5:45. By the time we get there, we might have had another upset because Middlesbrough of the Championship lead at Premier League Fulham. And here's the second half with Andy Reid and Ian Dennis.
Cheers, Steve. Yes, the two teams just taking to the field, and Fulham are going to have to up their game a little, Andy.
Yeah, most definitely. They haven't really been able to get into any flow. They had probably 5 minutes at the end of the half where they created a couple of half chances, but they haven't been able to play through the lines. They haven't been able to even get the ball wide and get any good balls into the box other than one from Traore on that right-hand side. And Middlesbrough, I suppose, were pretty comfortable and played pretty well. What I would imagine that Marco Silva will be saying to his players, you've got 10, maybe 15 minutes to show us that you can do something in this game, and if not, he'll be turning around, he'll be looking at his bench, because there's some quality players on that bench who can come on and change the game. So while it's a good first half for Middlesbrough, there's still plenty of work to be done.
Well, I was just waiting to see if they were going to make a change at half-time. There was only 9 outfield players at one stage, but that was because Issa Diop was a bit of a straggler. They haven't made any changes, so Lecomte is in goal. A back 4 of Castagna, Cuenca, Diop and Sessegnon. The midfield of Lukic and Reid, with Smith Rowe, Traore, Kevin and Kusiasari leading the line. Fulham then, in this second half, all in white, will be defending the Putney end and attacking the Hammersmith end here at Craven Cottage on what is still a bright afternoon, despite the fact that the floodlights are on, as the match restarts with Middlesbrough leading by 1-0, and Middlesbrough all in red, with the exception of that broad white strip going across the front of their jerseys. They have Bryn in goal, a back 4 of Brown at right back, Malander and Ayling, the 2 central defenders, Target left back, Morris and Gilbert in the midfield with Silvera, Whittaker, Hackney and Tommy Conway. And the attendance is 20,675, so they've obviously had a few walk-ups, but still Middlesbrough then having a quarter of the stadium with their excellent travelling contingent away towards our left-hand side. We'll keep you up to date with the goals as they go in the second half. Sports report to come at 5, and then 2 more commentaries before we see out the day on this marathon day of FA Cup action for you on BBC Radio 5 Live. And don't of course forget that the FA Cup highlights are on BBC One at 22:11. Conway helps win the ball back for Middlesbrough in the midfield. Hackney might have just picked up a little bit of a knock there. He's going to try and shrug it off, and then upended with Silvera by Lukic, and that'll be a free kick to Middlesbrough. Andy Reid.
Yeah, I've enjoyed how they've built through the central areas, Middlesbrough. They're always looking for the ball, always trying to give options, trying to create space, and they're prepared to have it in tight spaces. You know, you always say that when I'm talking to young players, be prepared to have a ball in tight spaces, especially if you're a midfielder. You have to have the ball with players around you.
Ayling has given the ball away to Smith Rowe, but his pass towards Traore was easily intercepted by Aidan Morris, this American international who just sits there in front of the back four, ball-winning midfielder, and does it rather effectively, as he'd sensed the danger and he quickly made sure that Fulham were unable to capitalise. Adama Traore, Andy mentioned it earlier about making the 7 changes, that you've got a number of players who are not regular starters. Traore is only his 5th start of the season, and indeed his last one was against Wickham in the League Cup in late October, the former Middlesbrough player, as it goes to Lecomte, the French goalkeeper, away towards our left. 71 appearances and 5 goals during his time at the Riverside for Adama Traore.
Yeah, they've looked rusty, some of these players, and you can tell that they haven't really played together. There hasn't been much flow. Players want that. They want a little bit of need that flow. They need 5 or 6 games at times, but sometimes with these players, with these teams, you don't get 5 or 6 games. You get an opportunity in a game like this, and you have to grab it, or else Marco Silva won't be playing them for a bit.
No, Marco Silva, who still watches on in his lofty position as he serves that touchline ban. 3 minutes into the second half, Fulham look to try and build another attack on this near side, the right, with Traore. Target back pedals. Castagna's gone on ahead of him in the penalty area. Comes off Malanda, central defender for Middlesbrough. And Fulham have a corner kick on the right-hand side to see what they can conjure up from a set piece.
Yeah, they worked the corner that they had in the first half from this side. They worked it really well, where they got a block and Castagna went across the front post, and Ayling had to clear one off the line. So they are quite clever from set pieces.
Everybody back for Middlesbrough bar Whittaker, and as a result of him on the halfway line, he's taken Sessegnon with him, and then Lukic is in between those two and the penalty area. Reid with a corner kick. I was going to say it was a disappointing one, didn't beat the first man, and in fact it's gone out of play for a goal kick. Another goal at Doncaster. Andy Giddings.
Well, it's Doncaster Rovers 1, Southampton 3. First corner of the second half, and Rovers start their response. Matty Pearson from said corner with a towering header and in. Doncaster Rovers 1, Southampton 3.
Earlier Cheltenham 0, Leicester City 2. Sunderland beat Everton on penalties 3-0 after a 1-1 draw after extra time. Macclesfield, of course, as we know, and I'm sure you've heard about already, knocking out the holders Crystal Palace by 2-1. Wolves dispatched Shrewsbury 6-1. These are the latest scores. Bournemouth 0, Burton Albion 2, Burnley 3, Millwall 0. We know Doncaster 1, Southampton 3 from Andy. Middlesbrough still lead here through that Hayden Hackney goal after half an hour. Ipswich are 1-0 up at home to Blackpool. Manchester City 4, Exeter City 0. As Fulham attack through Kevin, low cross, cut out by Hackney, up towards Conway, holds it up, and then Hackney plays the ball over the top. Just a dink ball for Gilbert to run onto. Newcastle Bournemouth remains 0-0. Sheffield Wednesday 0, Brentford 1, and Stoke Coventry is also goalless. Brown forward. Middlesbrough now on the right corner of the area. Whittaker enters the area. Whittaker! Oh, he's pulled it wide. He was always going away from goal off his right boot, and Hackney can't keep the ball in play.
He's done so well. He's got in the box, knew the defender couldn't touch him. It's a quick touch, shifts it one way, then goes back the other, just on his right foot. He's just dragged it just wide. But it was brilliant play from Whittaker, who looks really sharp.
It's no longer goalless at St James's Park. Katie Smith.
And it's gone to the home side. Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 0. And who else would it be? Harvey Barnes with some brilliant hold-up play, linking up really well with Voldemade down the left-hand side, who then plays it back into Barnes for his 10th of the season. Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 0.
He got that dramatic winner in midweek against Leeds United. which was just a crazy game of football.
It was an incredible game of football. It was so good. Two teams just really going at each other, and I know Leeds came out on the wrong end of it, but they certainly gave a good account of themselves.
Yeah, that was the day, of course, when Kevin Keegan was announced from his family that he'd been diagnosed with cancer. Just like to send our best wishes to Kevin, a former manager, of course, here at Fulham, and all the best in your recovery. Our thoughts are with you to you, Kevin. Special man. As Malanda, forward ball, cut out by Lukic, picked up by Kevin. Kusiasari passes the ball out wide. Smith Rowe, just inside the area, almost comes to a standstill. Doesn't utilise Sessegnon on the overlap, as the ball is passed back to Cuenca. Another goal at Manchester City. Lee Blakeman.
It's actually been scored by a Manchester City player this time after 2 own goals in the first half. Rico Lewis has just made it 5-0, cross from the left, nice finish. City 5, Exeter 0.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live. 5 Live Sport at Craven Cottage, where the Championship side Middlesbrough are ahead by a goal to nil. We're also live on the World Service and through the BBC Sounds app, and there is a lot of activity of players of the Fulham bench with their orange luminous jackets warming up in front of that bottom tier of the Riverside stand. I just wonder when Marco Silva will get the message from on high to make the changes to bring on some of the big guns as they look for a way back into this cup tie, as Kevin shoots, strikes the top of the head of Ayling, loops up in the air. The ball from Traore, though, was a poor one. It was a very loose pass, goes straight towards Conway, who gets away from Lukic. He's got Whittaker running forward on that right hand side. Sessegnon tracked back with him, and Sessegnon wins the ball fairly.
Yeah, he done well, Sessegnon, to get back in there. It was good defending, had to be a recovery run, but it comes from really sloppy pass from Traore, who hasn't really got into the game, other than maybe one cross in the first half. Hasn't really created anything. He gives away the ball sloppy, and Middlesbrough are on the counter-attack then with a good transition, but he had to recover really well, Sessegnon, and he did that.
Here is Reid for the Premier League side. Diop, Cuenca gets the ball after shouting for it with his arm aloft. Passed out to the left now for Sessegnon. But Middlesbrough have got a good shape about them, back to the halfway line. We'll go to Boreham Wood. John Southall.
Still Boreham Wood 0, Burton Albion 2, but great chance for Boreham Wood. Chris Bush out the back post, header 3 yards out over the bar. They need to take those. Boreham Wood 0, Burton 2.
Burton looking to be in the fourth round for the first time in 15 years. The draw, incidentally, the fourth round draw takes place at 6:30. You'll hear that on Drive on 5 Live on Monday evening, before the Monday Night Club with Mark Chapman. Oh, in fact, no, it's more FA Cup action, isn't it? Liverpool are at home to Barnsley. This is the second of 6 successive days, stroke nights of live football action. It's forgetting about that game at Anfield, and then we've got the League Cup semi-finals next Tuesday and Wednesday. Chelsea-Arsenal, League Cup semi-final on Wednesday, and at St James's Park the night before that, Newcastle against Manchester City. That's where we're going now. Katie Smith.
Where we've almost had an immediate equaliser for Bournemouth. Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 0. A pass at the back, Livramento under pressure. It falls straight into the path of Evan Nilsson, one-on-one with Ramsdale. Shoots straight at him. The keeper does well to make himself big. Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 0.
Fulham seeing a lot of the ball, but not really creating much with it at this stage. Traore turns infield towards Reid. Lukic central position midway through the Middlesbrough half. He's going to shoot. Strikes the head of Malanda, who it's caught him full on. He's had to go down, and there'll be a stoppage in play as a result. It was a fierce right-footed drive.
Yeah, Lukic just stepped in. He's seen a bit of a gap, and he was probably 20 yards out. He struck it really well, and I have to say the two centre-backs from Middlesbrough, they've been really brave. They put their bodies on the line, and Malanda didn't put his head to that one that time, and I think he probably knew what he was doing there by going down. He's jumped up reasonably quickly. But the ball speed is just not quick enough from Fulham. They have it at the start of the second half. They've had the ball a little bit, but they're just not moving it quick enough. It's a little bit slow, a little bit pedestrian, and what that does is it gives Middlesbrough the chance to regroup, to cover the centre of the pitch, and to not let them come through.
Peterborough United have got a second goal at home to Bolton Wanderers. There are actually only 2 games taking place at 3 o'clock today. The game at Valley Parade was postponed between Bradford and Rotherham. So Peterborough 2, Bolton 0. Leyton Orient still lead the leaders, Cardiff 1-1. The 2 results: Stockport County beating Huddersfield by a goal to 0, ending Huddersfield's 7-match unbeaten run, and Luton Town extended their unbeaten run at home to 10 games with a 2-1 victory against Stevenage. There's been another goal at Manchester City. Lee Blake.
Manchester City 6, Exeter City 0, and it's a debut goal for Antoine Semenyo, played in behind the Exeter defence, just the keeper to beat. Tidy finish, City 6, Exeter 0, Antoine Semenyo with a debut goal.
So we wondered when the time would come for Fulham to call for reinforcements as they trail by a goal to nil, and it is 11 minutes into the second half. Raul Jimenez is on, Harry Wilson is on, Tom Kearney is on for Reid, Traore and Asari. Andy Reid.
Yeah, you can't really blame Marco Silva. The players that have come into the team, they haven't really been able to get into the game. They haven't been able to assert themselves on it, and you've got some quality players coming on there, and I do expect a real shift in the performance from Fulham here. I expect them to move the ball quicker. I expect them to have more cutting edge in the top end of the pitch. Harry Wilson's been playing exceptionally well, and then you've got a focal point in Raul Jimenez up top. So it'll be interesting to see now how Middlesbrough handle the quality that has come onto the pitch.
So Semenyo scoring on his debut. Manchester City leading Exeter 6-0, and it is still Fulham 0, Middlesbrough 1 here as we're approaching the hour mark at Craven Cottage on BBC Radio 5 Live. Ball by Lecomte up towards Sessegnon, tried to lay it off, but Whittaker was alert to win it back for Middlesbrough, and Brown tidies up. Malanda passes the ball forward. Hackney inside, laid off Knightley. This is nicely to Silvera, tries to turn, edge of the area, back towards Gilbert, look towards Conway. Just lacked the pace to run onto the striker for Middlesbrough, but again, another really pleasing attack on the eye.
Yeah, brilliant, really good move again, and it comes from passing through the lines, breaking lines with passes.
Meanwhile, Fulham on the counter-attack. This is Kevin, but there was Ayling. Just stood firm in the centre of their defence with the interception. But again, the tempo's picked up.
Yeah, it definitely has. You go back to Malanda there when Malanda there. Sorry, we had the ball. He steps in and he passes through the lines and takes 4 or 5 Fulham players out of the game, and straight away Middlesbrough go on the front foot, and Fulham struggling to deal with it. I love a line breaking pass. It's my favourite pass in football when you see players being taken out of the game.
Malanda was actually signed in the summer from Charlotte, the MLS, but then loaned back to them. Made over 100 appearances. So only made his debut last week against Southampton, but he's a tall, elegant centre-back. He's 24 years of age.
He's looked really accomplished this afternoon. That partnership of him and Ayling have been really good.
St Mirren 0, Falkirk 1 is the latest score in the Scottish Premiership. And could there be a fight back? There's been another goal at Doncaster. Andy Giddings.
Well, there's a real story brewing here. They were 3-0 down at half-time, Doncaster Rovers, but they've pulled it back to 3-2. Another sweeping Rovers move has led to a terrific effort from Jordan Gibson. They're back in this tie. Doncaster Rovers 2, Southampton 3.
Certainly has been no shortage of stories in this FA Cup third-round weekend. We've still got commentaries to come from Tottenham and Charlton. That's just for today, and then tomorrow at Derby and Portsmouth and at Anfield on Monday night. As into League Two, a goal, Tranmere, Bromley, Nick Hatton.
And Bromley had their second of the game, a second for Michael Cheek as well, his 14th of the season. Bromley delivering balls into the Tranmere box. This time Jack Barrett came out to collect, spilt it, and there was Cheek to bundle into an empty net from 6 yards out. Tranmere 0, Bromley 2.
That's the only game taking place in League Two today. Fulham looking for an equaliser, get the ball out wide left, playing from left to right. Kevin with the ball at his feet, looks to go on the outside now of Brown, delivers the cross, it's high, Wilson can't bring it under control, but it has the matter under control now. He says leave it for me, and tries to place it, and he succeeds. Wilson can do no wrong at the moment. He knew exactly what he was doing, left-footed curling, beating the outstretched Sol Bryn, and Fulham are level through their man of the moment, Harry Wilson. 1-1.
The quality has come onto the pitch, we know that, we see it week in, week out in the Premier League, and that's a brilliantly taken goal. If you're Middlesbrough, you'll be disappointed that you let him come in on his left foot, because you know how good Harry Wilson is when he does that. But we were right behind that, we could see the angle. He started it just on the outside of the post and set it, comes back in, drifts just inside the post. Keeper can't do anything. A really, really good finish.
Do you know what I liked about that? Is that when the ball went away from him, I think Castagna was the supporting player. He put both of his hands out to say, don't worry, I've got this still. Was able to turn, opened up his body, and then hit a low curling effort.
Yeah, well, Castagna was just a decoy. He was never going to play the ball to him. He knew he was coming inside on that left foot, and it's a brilliant finish. Really, really good finish.
That's 3 in 3 now. As Middlesbrough look for a riposte at the other end, and it takes his tally to 8 for the season. He's out of contract at the end of the season, Harry Wilson, and he is a player very much in form.
Well, he's in a strong position when he's going in to negotiate, or when he sends his agent in to negotiate. There'll be plenty of clubs that would love the services of Harry Wilson, and I would imagine Fulham are desperate to keep him as well.
His best ever return was 11 in the 21-22 campaign, so he's edging ever closer to that. But Fulham are level. And don't forget as well that we do have the possibility of extra time and penalties if it was to be level after 90 minutes. 1-1 then. Malanda for Middlesbrough. Forward of the centre circle. Jimenez tries to pull him back, but the tall centre-back nudges it past Castagna, who turns. Gilbert then with the interception gets there before the Mexican international. Conway with a turn, hits the crossbar. Middlesbrough so close to going back in front. It was such a sharp turn, right-footed, rattles the bar. 1-1.
He's so unlucky there, Conway. He's got the ball torn, and I would say to the strikers, can you get a shot off quickly? He's done that, he's torn, he's hit it. Just leaning back a little bit, it's rising, hit the top of the crossbar, but a good response from Middlesbrough to conceding that goal.
Middlesbrough are going to make a change. In fact, I made a mistake when I said that's the only game in League Two. I'd forgotten that they're playing at Crewe, and Crewe are leading Harrogate by 1-0. Harrogate without a win in 14, bottom of League Two, and are behind at Gresty Road. So Crewe, Alexandra 1, Harrogate Town 0. And a goal at St James's Park. Katie Smith.
It's an equaliser for Bournemouth, and it felt like it had been coming. It's Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 1. Some sustained pressure from the visitors. Evan Nielsen with the ball on the right-hand side of the area. I can't quite work out if he was going for a shot or a cross, but Alex Scott lurking at the back post, taps it in. 1-1.
There's just been a change here, and in fact that Conway effort that hit the crossbar is the last bit of action, and Delano Bergzorg is the player who's come on to replace him. He's 6'1", signed him from Mainz back in 2024. It's actually been linked with a move to Bristol City in this January transfer window. So what a parting shot that almost was from Conway.
Yeah, I have to be honest with you, I'm surprised that Conway has gone off. I think he's been excellent. I think his walk rate has been incredible, how he's pressed, how he's gone after the ball. I think he's been a real focal point for Middlesbrough up there. I'm surprised to see him come off, and interesting to see what Bergzorg can bring to this game.
Well, Middlesbrough are attacking. Silvera, far side, the right. It's the ball outside, and that's a deep ball, and it's a wayward cross in the end. As we'll go to Sheffield Wednesday, Brentford, Chris Coles.
Where Brentford have doubled their advantage from the penalty spot. Matthias Jensen has just smashed it into the roof of the net. Ramel Donovan won it, the youngster, clearly fouled. Jensen dispatches it for Sheffield Wednesday 0, Brentford 2.
Celtic have got a third goal at home to Dundee United. St Mirren 0, Falkirk 2. And news of that third goal from Kenny Crawford.
64 minutes gone, Ian. It's Celtic 3, Dundee United 0, and this time the man who's just come on as a substitute, the Swede Benjamin Nygren. He was in the right place at the right time when Andy Engel's shot was blocked, and he just poked it into the top corner for his 11th of the season. Celtic 3, Dundee United 0.
Loose ball, almost played in Jimenez, but Malanda got there first, and he's hoisted it high downfield. Nice touch by Silvera. Early ball forward now for Whittaker. Middlesbrough, edge of the area, 1-1 here at Craven Cottage. Bergzorg will keep it alive. The ball back in field. Now this is Silvera. Holds off Smith Rowe, just outside the area. Back then with Morris. Options to his right. Brown is one of them. Infield, laid off by Whittaker. The return ball to him. There was Lukic just to mop up in the midfield for Fulham. Andy Reid.
It's a lot more of an even game now than it was in the first half. But I liked Middlesbrough's reaction to conceding the goal. They've gone on the front foot again. They're still pressing really high up the pitch and still playing some good football.
Wilson looking for Kevin, cut out by Brown. Another goal at Turf Moor, Julia Bold.
It's now Burnley 4, Millwall 0. Ashley Barnes with his second of the day. Another close range effort, this time with his right foot. And it came after Liam Chowner should have had a fourth as well, because his long range effort just clipped the post. Burnley 4, Millwall 0.
In League One, Bolton have got a goal back. Peterborough United 2, Bolton Wanderers 1. In the 9 FA Cup ties in the 3 o'clocks where there's jeopardy, Doncaster Rovers 2, Southampton 3. The League One side were 3-0 down. Ipswich lead Blackpool by 1-0. In the all Premier League affair, it's Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 1. 1-1 here at Craven Cottage, and it is still goalless Stoke City and Coventry City. Tom Gale.
Where Coventry have just hit the post, Ian. Romain Esse on loan from Crystal Palace. Good work down the left, floats in the cross. Haji Wright sees his four-headed strike deflect off the post. Stoke 0, Coventry 0.
Fulham have just made a change. Anthony Robinson is the player who has come on, and it was Sessegnon who has gone off, so that is a like-for-like swap at left back. Middlesbrough, nice ball, little flick inside by Bergzorg. This is Hackney, who got them the lead in the first half, wins a corner in front of their strong travelling support, one apiece. Andy Reid.
Yeah, that was brilliant play from Bergzorg there. It looked like it was just going out playing. He's flicked it back inside. A lovely little flick to the inside there, and this is a really difficult game to call now, isn't it, with the quality that's come onto the pitch for Fulham. But Middlesbrough still really pushing to try and get another goal.
Peterborough have re-established their 2-goal cushion at home to Bolton in League One. Peterborough 3, Bolton Wanderers 1 at London Road. Corner taken short left-hand side. Hackney to Morris, the American international, back out towards Hackney. He goes infield off the left touch line towards Silvera. Fulham had every white shirt back. Ayling fouled by Jimenez will give away a free kick midway through the Fulham half, and Jimenez actually prevents Ayling from taking it quickly.
Yeah, and Ayling wanted a book in there, didn't he? See him looking at the referee.
Free kick has been taken. Right hand side, Whittaker. Bergzorg gives it away towards Kevin, and then Kevin skips away from one challenge and darts forward. Bergzorg tries to redeem himself and then only gives away a free kick. Another goal at Boreham Wood, John Southall.
Boreham Wood 0, Burton 3. Free kick on the right hand side. The goalkeeper Kurd fumbled it, came out to Fabio Tavares and he tucked it in. Surely game over. Boreham Wood 0, Burton 3.
And for his efforts, Delano Bergzorg has been booked for Middlesbrough. One apiece.
Yeah, he done well to recover. He'd given the ball away, knew it was sloppy, and he's ran all the way back in, and he didn't want Kevin to get away from him, and he's taken the foul.
In comes the cross from the left-hand side. Gilbert was there. Out of play it goes for a throw. Opportunity for Kearney maybe to whip it in again. Instead leaves it for Lukic. Back out towards Kearney. Middlesbrough drop back. Every red shirt in and around their own penalty area. Cuenca comes forward. This is Diop midway through the Middlesbrough half. Here is Castagna. Smith Rowe, but being forced back towards the halfway line. And another goal at Newcastle. Katie Smith.
And the visitors have come from behind. It is Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 2. A brilliant goal as well from David Brooks. Takes the ball in his own half, strides down the left-hand side of the pitch. It's blocked out by Sven Botman. Gives Brooks time to just gather himself. Goes onto his right foot, flicks it right into the bottom right-hand corner. It's Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 2.
Robinson lays it off. Lukic brings it under control. Middlesbrough, though, pressing in and around that halfway line and forcing Fulham back into their own half.
Yeah, they're not content to kind of sit back in. They are getting after Fulham. It's a little bit like a basketball game at the moment, where you have a spell where team break and they pin them in for a couple of minutes, and then Middlesbrough will come up the other, Fulham will come up the other end. They'll kind of pin Middlesbrough in for a little bit, and it's going end to end at the moment. And like I said earlier, it's a really difficult one to call. It's who can create that chance and who's got that quality then to take it.
This is the first ever meeting in the competition between these two sides, and we could be going for the extra time at this rate. One apiece as yet another goal at Celtic. Kenny
Yeah,
Crawford.
they're not used to this, the Celtic fans. It's been a hard month, but now they're back to winning ways. It's Celtic 4, Dundee United 0, and this time it's Daisen Maeda, the Japanese forward. Arne Engel's shot was saved by Dave Richard, pushed out to the side, and Maeda just thumped it into the net on the rebound. Celtic 4, Dundee United 0.
Target forward ball towards Gilbert, just ran away from him at the last moment, and to credit Lecomte, he was quickly off his goal line.
Yeah, and he needed to be, again, more good play. Target that time with his right foot, he steps inside, tries to slip a ball, and Gilbert makes the run, and he just couldn't quite get on the end of it.
Fulham, who've progressed in each of their last 6 FA Cup third round ties since losing actually to Oldham when they were a League 2 side here back in 2019, and on the attack now, and this is Kevin with a shot, just wide. He's still yet to open up his account for Fulham. That looked close from our position.
Yeah, he cuts inside on his right foot. It's a counter-attack, it's a transition. moved the ball really well, and Wilson slips Kevin in on that far side, and you know he's going to want to come in on his right foot. He timed his run well, just steps outside, steps back inside, goes to whip it into that far post, and it wasn't far off at all.
That was close from the Brazilian who they signed in September for just under £35 million from Shakhtar. Kearney wins the ball in the midfield. Kevin side onto goal, 25 yards out. Wilson along the ground. Here is Raul Jimenez. Just did enough to lean into to target, to get himself away from the Middlesbrough defender, but he couldn't get past Ayling, who's going to bring it away, the former Leeds United man, and he continues his run. It's a strong run by Ayling on this near side, the left. He looks for Bergzorg going ahead of him. Bergzorg tries to take it past Cuenca. Cuenca leans into him, gives away a free kick. That'll be a yellow card for the Fulham defender. And a free kick for Middlesbrough, left of the penalty area.
Yeah, in a good area. Bergzorg's been good since he's come on. He's looked a handful. He's a good size. He's quick. He can manipulate the ball really well, and he's done well. It's been an excellent game, I have to say. It's been really good. Middlesbrough dominated first half, been really even second half. There's been some really good passages of play, and who's going to be able to commit that extra man forward to get that goal?
I would agree with you, and it's been extremely enjoyable. Hibs 1, Motherwell 1, so Hibs have equalised at Easter Road. This is a free kick though for Middlesbrough in front of that travelling support in the Putney end. We've got the entire end in the end towards our left hand side, and they're expectant because what is it, 6-8 yards away from the left side of the penalty area?
Yeah, it's a good area. It looks like Whittaker's going to take it, so it'll be swinging away from the keeper. 5, maybe 6 players from Middlesbrough in that. In and around the penalty spot. They'll be looking to get that timing right, swing back out a little bit so they don't need to go in too early. 2
players who've really caught the eye of Andy Reid. Hackney and Whittaker stand over this free kick. Hackney walks away now. It'll be Whittaker, lifts it deep inside the penalty area, headed away by Jimenez. Smith Rowe clatters it further clear as we go to Stoke and Tom Gale.
Stoke 0, Coventry 0, but Frank Lampard's side have hit the post for the second time this half. Jack Radoni inside the penalty area, goes through the legs of Phillips, the centre-half, deflects and kisses the post. Frank Lampard's now making a quadruple change to try and see this one over the line in normal time. With Stoke 0, Coventry 0.
Ball given away, Jimenez to Lukic running forward, lays it off. Kevin comes onto the attack, scuffs his shot right-footed. It was a rather weak effort. Middlesbrough actually go to Stoke in a few weeks, the 21st of January. The next in action though away at Middlesbrough on Friday. There's Jimenez with the layoff. I think that's why their coach was able to go as strong as he had, making just the 2 changes here today. Kim Hellberg, who was certainly given a tonic last week when his 3-year-old son Harry came over to join him from Sweden, as Wilson goes again, pushed away by the goalkeeper, loose ball, and Brim makes the double save. It was hit back in by Robinson, but he was back on his goal line and down on his knees.
Well, it was almost a carbon copy. Wilson comes in on his left foot again, and the Middlesbrough defenders, they have to keep him outside on his right foot. Comes inside on that left foot, a good strike, bounces just in front of the keeper, and he was pleased to see that rebound drop into his hand.
A Middlesbrough player is down on the far side. It's Silvera. Another goal at Manchester City. Lee Blakeman.
7-0 to Manchester City. Doku into the area left side, pulled it back to the edge of the area. Reinders right foot curler, far side of the net. And I don't know about you, Ian, I reckon this one might be over. Manchester City 0, Manchester City 7, Exeter City 0.
I'm inclined to agree with you. This one is far from over. Indeed, we've got 15 minutes remaining of the regulation 90.
Yeah, it's been really open in the second half. There's plenty of space for both midfielders to be able to come on and play, and they've played some good football, both teams, in the second half, and both teams have been going for it. They both want to try and get this winner, and it wouldn't surprise me to see a goal before the end of the game.
Here is Target, just pops it forward towards Bergzorg, but it bounces out of play, and it will be a throw to Fulham in front of us here on the halfway line. A quarter of an hour remaining then on 5 Live. As Cuenca back out to the right for Castagna. Kearney standing next to him. It's actually now gone past Sir Bobby Robson and his tally of 370, so he moves into the top 15 of appearance makers at Fulham. overtaking the great man as Castagna. Back it goes then to the goalkeeper. They're building from the back, but they're building from the back slowly. They work it across towards the left. Robinson. Jimenez drops deep, tries to spin away from Malanda, but Malanda is there and he quickly snuffs out the threat of the Mexican international.
I like that battle between them two, Malanda and Jimenez, since he's come on. Jimenez, he gets hold of the ball really well. Physically, he's a good presence up there, and the two of them have been battling. Malanda's wanting to step in when Jimenez comes off to try and get hold of it and bring some of them Fulham midfielders into play.
There is activity on the Middlesbrough bench over on the far side. Nipan is going to be coming on as Smith Rowe runs forward out towards Harry Wilson. Wilson cuts inside. Kearney now takes over. Kearney, Smith Rowe able to turn. Smith Rowe scores. Fulham have come from behind and now lead Middlesbrough by 2-1. Emile Smith Rowe, he's gone 6 games without a goal. Back on the score sheet. And Fulham lead Middlesbrough.
Yeah, Tom Kearney plays a lovely through ball. Smith Rowe receives, spins really quickly on his right foot, and you're waiting for one of the Middlesbrough defenders to get there and close him down. They don't get there. Strikes it low and hard into that far corner, and Middlesbrough will be disappointed with that. But the quality is starting to show from these from these Fulham players, who the substitutions have made a real difference.
Nobody picked him up, did they?
Yeah, it hasn't been too many times when there's been gaps in that Middlesbrough defence this afternoon, but that was certainly one of them. And you can't give a player of Smith Rowe's quality, you can't give him that time in the box. The weight of the pass was really good from Tom Kearney. Smith Rowe turns really swiftly and fires into that bottom corner.
So Fulham, who had to call for reinforcements, they equalised on the hour mark, and with 13 minutes remaining, they lead against the Championship high flyers by 2-1. I think it's possibly the first time this afternoon that the Middlesbrough support has been quiet, with Fulham voices that you can hear inside Craven Cottage. And you called it, Andy. You said that you sensed that there would be another goal before the 90 minutes, and you are absolutely bang on.
Yeah, well, Middlesbrough aren't out of this game by any stretch. There's a lot of football to be played still in this game, and how they performed today and how they played some excellent football. They've got some quality players who can create. It's definitely not over, and I'm going to be interested to see now what Fulham do, whether they continue to go on the front foot or whether they kind of just retreat and become difficult to break down.
Well, we mentioned that Sverre Nipan, who's on loan from Manchester City, would be coming on. It looks like it's going to be even maybe a triple change for Kim Hellberg's side for Middlesbrough. They had gone 4 games without a goal recently, but then they scored 4 goals in 22 second half minutes against Southampton last week. But they're looking at 3 players now going to be coming on.
Yeah, I think the way they've performed today, and I think the question that we asked was, this is the yardstick, can they compete against a Premier League team? And I think the answer is emphatically yes.
Ball flicked on, here is Whittaker in the area, wide. They've had some chances in the second half, and Whittaker left-footed puts that inches away from the left-hand post so easily, and maybe should be 2-2.
Yeah, it should be. You can see the agony. We're watching the replay here. You can see the agony on Whittaker's face. He opened his body up brilliantly well. We were expecting the back of the net to just ripple, and it just caught just outside that post, and on his left foot I was expecting the net to bulge there. He get in a great position. First touch was excellent, just didn't quite have the finish.
Well, Morgan Whittaker, who had no goals in his first 25 games and then has scored 10 in his next 17, had a chance to add to his tally, but he's now going to be coming off as well, is Whittaker. Nipan will replace him. He did have the opportunity to make it all square, so Nipan, who's yet to score, the young Norwegian. I think it's Kruse Ebbe who's going to be coming on as well. He's only 16 years of age. He signed his first pro contract last November. He's going to be coming on for his debut. He's a local lad, been at through the Teesside setup since the age of under 19, so he is on.
Hackney and Whittaker both gone off there, and again, quite surprising Halberg knows the players better than I do for sure, but they look like the ones in Hackney and particularly Whittaker who are going to break down this Fulham defence, and see them go off is a little bit surprising.
Dale Fry was the other player to come on for Luke Ayling, so that was that triple change that Middlesbrough have made. So Hayden Hackney, who gave Middlesbrough the lead in the first half, is the player who is removed as Smith Rowe, who's given Fulham the lead, makes headway on this near side, the right, cleared away by Melander. We've got 9 minutes remaining, but Fulham now just seem to have that little bit of an edge.
They seem to have a bit of control of the game now. They're the ones who are kind of in possession. They look like they've got a grip on this game a little bit. They look like they've got some patterns, and they're keeping the ball a lot better than what they were in the first half, and it's probably no surprise with the quality that they've brought onto the football pitch.
Yep, they had a scare, however, and they needed the substitutions to change things. Kearney looks for a forward ball for Wilson. That was cut out. Loose ball picked up by Robinson. Out it goes towards Kevin, but there's a bit of a saunter now from Kevin, and Kearney infield. Lukic, is he going to shoot from distance? No, the wandering Castagna will come forward on this near side and collects the ball, but there is a confidence now you can see about the way that Fulham are playing, as there has been another goal at Manchester City. Lee Blakeman.
8-0 to Manchester City, ball over the top, Nico Riley with the header. This time it's definitely all over now. Manchester City 8, Exeter City 0.
Lipan pops it forward, Iber gives it away, Smith Rowe wriggles clear, edge of the area. Jimenez tries to help him out, but Smith Rowe still has the ball glued to his foot. Out towards Wilson. That's the 2 goal scorers for Fulham. Wilson now with a cross cut out at the near post and takes a load of the pace off the ball for Bryn to make the save.
Yeah, Halberg will be hoping that the substitutions that have come on, they'll bring a little bit of energy to the performance here today. They don't seem to be getting after the ball as they were for the first 60 minutes of the game. They're on the back foot a little bit more. They don't seem to have that kind of front foot aggressive nature that they had for 60-65 minutes.
A goal at Boreham Wood in the FA Cup. John Southall.
The icing on the cake for Burton. Boreham Wood 0, Burton 4. Dylan Williams on the left of the area into the bottom right hand corner, and that is that. Boreham Wood 0, Burton 4.
So Burton 4-0 up. Burnley are 4-0 up at home to Millwall. There's been 5 goals at Doncaster, where Southampton currently lead Doncaster Rovers 3-2. Robinson charging forward now. Cross takes a deflection caught by Byrne. It's 2-1 here at Craven Cottage to Fulham. Ipswich still lead Blackpool by a goal to 0. Manchester City 8. Exeter City 0. Newcastle 1. Bournemouth 2. Sheffield Wednesday 0. Brentford 2. And the only goalless game in the 3 o'clocks remains Stoke City 0, Coventry City 0. Commentary of that is on Sports Extra 3. We've still got commentaries to come from Tottenham at 5:45 and Charlton Chelsea at 8 o'clock, also here in the capital. 6 minutes remain in League One. Latest scores: Leyton Orient 1, Cardiff the leaders 1, Peterborough lead Bolton by 3-1, and latest scores in League 2, again just the 2 games. Crewe lead Harrogate, bottom of the table, by a goal to 0. That could be 15 games without a win. And Tranmere Rovers 0, Bromley 2. 7 successive wins it would be for the leaders Bromley, who would be going 5 points clear of Swindon at the top of League 2. Sports Report coming up on BBC Radio 5 Live. We've got 6 minutes remaining here at Craven Cottage. And Middlesbrough picked the ball up in the midfield. It just seemed to have faded a little.
Yeah, they've just lost the spark a little bit, although they're on the attack here on the right-hand side and still in this game.
Ibe, well, they're still very much in it with just the 1 goal between the two, as this is a turn by Gilbert, right corner of the area. Gilbert towards Bergzorg. Bergzorg can't turn, looks for a shooting opportunity. The angle is tight. He'll win a corner kick. Will the substitute for Middlesbrough?
Yeah, done well there. Ball's come in. He's held I think it's Robinson off, and he tried to turn him, and Robinson's defending quite well, and he ended up winning a corner. And as he said, they've lost the spark a little bit, but this might be a way that they can get back into the game. They've got some big lads out there. Melander coming up from the back, can he get his head on something?
And also Fulham making another change. Smith Rowe, who might be the match winner, is coming off. Sander Berger is coming on. So that's another indication that, as far as Marco Silva is concerned, for a Fulham side that have reached the quarter-finals in 2 of the last 3 seasons, that their job is still needs to be finished here right to the very end. So Smith Rowe goes off and Berger is on, and then Sonja Hansen, the Curaçao international, is the player who comes on, and Matt Targett is the player who goes off. From the corner kick on that far side, edge of the area, drops to Gilbert, places the ball in. Berger heads it away, headed back by Morris. Brown rises, Brown shoots, the referee's blown his whistle. It remains Fulham leading then Middlesbrough by 2-1 as we go to Ipswich and Blackpool, and Paul Gilmore.
5 minutes of normal time, still Ipswich 1, Blackpool 0. Jadon Philogene first half goal the difference. Ipswich do look threatening, but as long as this stays 1-0, Blackpool are believing. Hamilton and Fletcher have had good chances in this half. Billy Peacock-Farrell's long kicks causing Ipswich problems at times. Ipswich 1, Blackpool 0.
Thank you, Paul. Under 4 minutes remaining here at Craven Cottage, and it'll be Lecomte with a free kick for Fulham. All in orange away towards our left, downfield. Cleared away then by Silvera, headed back by Kearney. Been such a great servant, hasn't he, Tom Kearney? In fact, Fulham unbeaten in their last 7 games against Middlesbrough, since Middlesbrough won here 2-0. Albert Adoma and Grant Ledbetter. Tom Kearney actually played for Fulham that day.
Yeah, he's been a great servant. I think he's a lovely footballer. I love his kind of balance, his poise, how he always wants the ball. He's a really clever, intelligent footballer, and I also like hearing him talking about football as well. You can tell that he understands the game, and it wouldn't surprise me to see him go into the coaching at some point.
Well, what is he now? He's turns 35 later this month, does Tom Kearney. So I'm sure they'll be starting to consider his options in that respect as Castagna over the halfway line. Fulham leading 2-1, all in white, playing from left to right. And we've got 2.5 minutes of normal time remaining here at Craven Cottage. Any anxiety from the Fulham support when they were trailing up until the hour mark seems to have disappeared.
Yeah, it seems comfortable enough for them at the moment. You're just wondering if Middlesbrough can muster one last kind of push, it can create one last chance going into this last few minutes of the game.
Certainly created 3 excellent chances in this second period. Conway hit the crossbar, 2 for Whittaker, as here is Jimenez. Kearney just has that awareness just to have time to glance around his left shoulder, chips the ball forward, taken behind the chest by Jimenez, brings it under control and tries to carve a ball along the ground, but nobody had made that run, whether it be Lukic or indeed Kevin. Middlesbrough though have lost it. This is Lukic again on the edge of the box. Kearney encouraged to shoot, doesn't do so. Passes the ball out towards Robinson, left corner of the area, back in towards Kearney, lays it off towards Wilson. Kearney again will get another touch. There is a 9th goal of the afternoon for Manchester City. Right. Manchester City 9, Exeter City 0 is the latest score. Here is Kevin in towards the penalty area, tries to roll away from his man, still has the ball to his feet. Outside the penalty area goes, just up from the byline, still wriggles clear, and then ultimately loses the ball. So whenever Lee is standing by, we'll get news of who got the latest player on the score sheet. And indeed, here he is.
McAdoo, the 17-year-old, on his debut from the edge of the area. Manchester City 9, Exeter City 0.
Now, it was tight at Portman Road. They're either going to go into extra time or Ipswich have sealed it. Who's got that second goal? Paul Gilmore.
Well, Ian, just as Portman Road was getting a little edgy, Jacob Greaves stepped up to head in from the set piece, from close range into the corner. That will settle the nerves. It is Ipswich Town 2, Blackpool 0.
One of the tie that was looking or heading towards extra time may no longer be the case. A goal and a late one at Stoke. Tom Gale.
In the 88th minute, Ian, Stoke 1, Coventry 0, and it's a screamer from Lamine Cisse. He's initially fouled in the build-up, the cross comes in, it's attempted to head it clear, and 30 yards on the half volley, it loops over the helpless Ben Wilson. Stoke 1, Coventry 0.
That means that Coventry will have failed to have won any of their last 6 away games. They are the side that Middlesbrough are tucked in behind at the top of the Championship. 5 minutes of added time here at Craven Cottage in the Cup, where Middlesbrough, second in the Championship, are trailing by 2-1. Another goal for Julia Bold at Burnley.
It's Burnley 5, Millwall 0. Substitute Jayden Bedell with his left foot, centre of goal. It's now Burnley 5, Millwall 0.
An emphatic way to get their first win in 13 attempts for Scott Parker's side. Is the time for a late equaliser here at Craven Cottage for the Championship team, all in red, who are coming forward with Gilbert along the ground, but that's easily intercepted by Robinson, and Robinson now is over the halfway line. He's only got Jimenez with him. He'll run forward on that left side. Dale Fry backpedals. Robinson enters the area. Oh, the cross just eludes the diving Jimenez inside the 6-yard area.
Yeah, a really good break from Robinson on that left-hand side. The ball turned over, and he's so quick when he's moving with the ball. Goes on the outside, whips a great ball in, and like you said there, Jimenez diving header, just trying to nod her in at that back post, and agonisingly, he just couldn't quite get anything on it.
69 years that FA Cup hoodoo in the capital looks like it's going to be extended for Middlesbrough, and 23 away games without success as they are trailing by 2-1, and we are into the second of the 5 minutes of added on time. But they needed the reinforcements, didn't they, Andy?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you know, if it does finish this way and Middlesbrough go on to lose the game, they can be really proud of their efforts this afternoon. They've gone toe-to-toe with Premier League team, and they've really competed well in possession and out possession.
Here is Kevin. Kevin runs forward to the edge of the area. Little flick inside towards Lukic. Lukic can't get that shot clear. Wilson passes the ball out wide, right-hand side. Jimenez in the penalty area, back towards Wilson. What a cross that was, on a plate for Kevin. And Fulham with a third goal are into the fourth round. And Kevin, who celebrated his birthday last week, has got his first goal for the club. But what an audacious cross from Harry Wilson. It's harsh on Middlesbrough. Fulham 3, Middlesbrough 1.
If you get a chance to see this cross, you have to get eyes on it. Absolutely incredible. As the ball comes back from Jimenez, you're thinking, what's Harry Wilson going to do? Is he going to swing his right foot at it? No, he doesn't. He just chips it with the outside of his left foot. The weight on it is perfect, right to that back post. It is absolutely sensational. I have to say, that is top class football, and it's a tap in at the back post, but it's all about the cross from Harry Wilson, who has changed the game.
Absolutely, just pure quality from Harry Wilson. So Fulham lead Middlesbrough by 3-1 as we go back to Lee Blakeman at Manchester City.
And Manchester City have just got a 10th. It's been fired into the roof of the net just after George Birch got one back for Exeter. Manchester City have 10 in the FA Cup. Manchester City 10, Exeter City 1.
I think that's getting close to their record win. In fact, 10-0 might well be a record win for Manchester City. In 1896, they beat Rotherham 10-1. So that's one for the to check the record books. That might be a record win for City.
Right, how have you just pulled that stat out there? That's brilliant.
Oh, it is 10-1. So it would equal a club record win from Rotherham in 1896.
Safe to say that's a tough afternoon up at Man City for Exeter, isn't it?
Another goal at Burnley, Julia Bold.
It's now Burnley 5, Millwall 1. Just as the game finishes, Joshua Coburn chipped it over the top of the keeper. It was just a consolation though. Burnley 5, Millwall 1.
There's a penalty at Newcastle. Katie Smith.
And might it be late heroics again for Newcastle here on their great stage at St James's Park. It's a penalty. Anthony Gordon standing over the ball. Tonali brought down when he was through on goal. Petrovic with the trailing leg bringing him down in the box. We're being told to wait here. There's been such a delay. We're in the 94th minute now. The whistle goes. Anthony Gordon to take this to 2-2 to potentially take us to extra time. He strikes the ball to the left and it's in under the keeper. 2-2.
That is their 22nd consecutive penalty that they've scored at St James's Park.
That's incredible, isn't it? Them fans up there are incredible. All the fans are in there. It's incredible.
Well, this enjoyable cup tie has finished. Middlesbrough have certainly played their part. They've acquitted themselves very well. But Fulham's substitutions that came off the bench transformed the game. They've come from behind. They've beaten Middlesbrough 3-1. And Harry Wilson, undoubtedly the star of the show. Here are the closing thoughts of Andy Reid.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good game, and I know Middlesbrough have come off on the losing side here, but them fans behind the goal to our left here, they can be really proud of the efforts that they put in today. In possession, I thought they played some really good stuff. Out of possession, I thought they pressed really well. Far better side in the first half. The second half just became a little bit too much. Quality comes onto the pitch. Harry Wilson comes on, steals the show, scores a goal, couple of assists, and he was brilliant. And that assist right at the end with the outside of his left foot, if you get a chance to watch it, you have to see it. Quality shone through in the end, but Middlesbrough can be very proud of their efforts this afternoon.
Yes, they certainly can. They'll try and concentrate on promotion to the Premier League. But for Fulham, after making 7 changes, they can look forward maybe to another cup run in the FA Cup. They're through to round 4. It's finished at Craven Cottage. Fulham 3, Middlesbrough 1.